heaters. Kelly O'Grady has more now on the report and what's ahead for us.
This report specifically, we got a 10% tariff on China at the beginning of February. It does get a little bit of that impact, but really what people are looking at are these 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel, these reciprocal tariffs that are coming April 2nd. So that's going to be these next few reports. How much of the pass-through are you going to get from businesses passing that on to consumers, and does that tick inflation up higher?
And as farmers continue to deal with challenges from tariffs and spending cuts, the head of the U.S. Department of Agriculture is in Georgia today.
Following a meeting with state officials, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says she knows farmers are facing hardships.
This community has been very patient, but they're hurting, and we understand that.
Her visit comes as the USDA announces $1 billion in cuts for a program for schools to buy produce from local farmers.
So what we pulled back was money that had not been spent yet and had not been committed yet.
Rollins says they are trying to ensure that farmers who have already spent money from expected grants will get funding. From the state capitol, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
Might be a good day to take that lunch outside. Sunny and warm this afternoon. We're headed for a high of 77. Storms, though, expected this weekend. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast. That comes your way at 12:05. This is news since Atlanta's Morning News. A convicted child rapist in Cherokee County has been sentenced now to 35 years behind bars. 34-year-old Alex Trinidad of Marietta was convicted in January on charges of rape, child molestation, and cruelty to children. That rape occurred in April of 2023 at a home in Ackworth when the child was just 14 years old. All right, so what's the person in the car next to you doing? There's a new poll today from AAA on drivers who smoke pot while behind the wheel.
AAA says it strongly opposes people driving under the influence of marijuana, saying its effects can profoundly compromise a person's ability to safely control a vehicle. The Auto Club conducts new surveys of cannabis users. One of them finds that 38% of users would trust messaging about pot use and safe driving from cannabis companies and industry groups. The other poll shows more than half of them use pot an hour or less before driving, and nearly half believe they drive either the same or better when they use marijuana. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
And while we're talking about you and your drive, don't you just hate it when a car zooms by with a really loud muffler? Well, now the city of Lilburn says they're going to be cracking down on that after getting a number of complaints. Police say loud mufflers have become a growing issue in that community, so they're going to be increasing enforcement efforts. They say violators will get pulled over and get cited, and they'll have to correct the issues with their exhaust system, or they could be getting a ticket. It's being called a miracle. A woman in Indiana recovering this noon after being trapped for nearly a week in her wrecked car. Nobody noticed her car down an embankment until this man who works for a drainage company saw the car.
I noticed some dry blood on her forehead. I said, "Ma'am, how long have you been here?" And she said, "I've been here since Wednesday night." And I said, "No, it's today's Tuesday." I said, I think you're confused." She was very conscious, very alert, very aware of how severe her injuries were.
41-year-old Brianna Cassell was on her way to visit a friend, she says, when she fell asleep while driving. A person is being questioned after a man was shot and wounded at Chicago's O'Hare Airport this morning. This man saw it all happen from his hotel window.
I heard what sounded like a just rapid fire, like automatic fire. I saw people, I looked out my window, I'm in the hotel right across the way, and I saw people scattering.
The shooting happened early this morning outside of Terminal 2. Police say a group of people got into a fight. Somebody pulled out a gun and fired. All right, do your kids play soccer? Well, a new study today finds youth soccer leagues that have banned or limited headers have seen a 36% reduction in concussions. Michael Wallace has a look at the report.
Researchers at Mayo Clinic, Arizona call it an encouraging trend. In 2016, the U.S. Soccer Federation banned headers for players younger than 10 and limited the time players 11 to 13 could practice headers to a half hour per week. Before those changes, 8% of soccer injuries were concussions. After the rule changes, 6% were.
The study also found girls tend to suffer more concussions in soccer than boys. And if you're in your car right now, lane closures on Peachtree Street in downtown Atlanta are in effect. They're going to be in effect each weekday from now until next Friday. So a lane in each direction of travel will be closed for resurfacing work from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. between Baker Street and Ellis Street. Let's check your money here at noon. The Dow is down 151 at 41,287. NASDAQ is in positive territory, up more than a full percent. The S&P's up almost 0.5% here on your lunch hour. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams has a look at the roads.
Better news for our commuters out of Alpharetta into Roswell and Sandy Springs this lunch hour. They have cleared the construction from the right lane, 400 southbound at Northridge, exit 6. Those delays will start to improve. 85 southbound on and off the brakes between Duluth and Norcross. And 285 east and northbound still slow into Cab before and after Flat Shoals, trying to get onto I-20 eastbound due to that construction zone in the right lane of the collector distributor ramp heading to Wesley Chapel Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta Homes. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Sunny skies and very warm today. High 77. That's trending about 10 degrees above average for this afternoon. Sunset around 7:45. Temperatures will be in the upper 60s to low 70s at that time, and then cooling into the low 50s for tomorrow morning. Clouds arrive overnight into tomorrow with an isolated rain shower possible. High 72. Friday, mostly cloudy, breezy. Morning low 54. Afternoon high 75. A few rain showers possible early Saturday morning. However, the bulk of the strong to severe storms expected late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Right now, the timeline is 10 p.m. Saturday night into 6 a.m. Sunday morning. A line of strong storms moving through, producing damaging wind gusts that can knock down trees and power lines. These storms may also produce tornadoes early Sunday morning.
More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
I have one important housekeeping note for my audience in the state of Georgia. I was going to do an actual in Texas on school choice, but was asked not to by some of the outside groups there that are already doing them. In Georgia, if you text the word engage to 33777, you'll get a link to call your state senator. The legislation to kill your school cameras in your state, the speed detection cameras, is now in the Senate. $150,000 has been given by the lobbyists to the lieutenant governor and the Senate Republicans, hoping they will kill the legislation. Perfect populist issue for them to stand up to the corporations and stand up for the working class, kill those cameras. If you text engage to 33777, I will send you a link. You click it, put in your information, and it will call your cell phone, connecting you to your state senator, so you can tell them to support Dale Washburn's legislation to kill those speed cameras. By the way, a sheriff in Georgia came out this morning and said they're operating unconstitutionally, and people who defend them need to understand that the operation is actually unconstitutional, and he's got big problems with them. Sheriffs are starting to oppose the cameras. Text engage to 33777 for those of you in the state of Georgia. As we have action alerts in other states where we're on the air, we'll do those as well. This is a big one for folks in the state of Georgia. Now, we got to begin with the inflation news here. Let me go over to CNN, play this clip. Of course, the computer crashes right as I push the button. Let's reboot it, pull out the cable, plug back in the cable. Let's start again. The inflation report at CNN.
Finally, we have some good news on the economy and really the number one issue for many Americans, the cost of living. So we just learned that consumer prices in February increased by 2.8% year over year, 0.2% month over month. Both of these figures were a step in the right direction, and both were better than expected. So this is definitely very encouraging to see, because it's going to, I think, relieve some fears that inflation was perhaps re-accelerating, because this actually breaks a streak of 4 straight months where I think you could see it on the chart all the way to the right, where the inflation rate was going in the wrong direction, right? It was going higher and higher. Finally, we're seeing it dip.
That's actually great news. The Dow is down 106 points, though, but NASDAQ and S&P are up. In fact, tech stocks are rebounding because of the inflation news. The consumer price index rose 2.8% for the 12 months ending in February. That's down from 3% last month. It is a faster decline than expected. Now, the side story here is part of it comes from recessionary fears as the economy slows down and prices trickle down. But it's not just that. Not just that. Gas prices are down. Now that Donald Trump has come back, remember, gas prices are based on a futures market, and the future for oil and gas looks good under Donald Trump. The nation's average price of gasoline, according to Gas Buddy, has fallen for the third straight week, declining 6 cents compared to a week ago, and stands at $3.03 per gallon. According to data compiled from more than 12 million individual price reports covering 150,000 gas stations across the country, the national average is down 8.9 cents from a month and is 36.7 cents per gallon lower than a year ago. The national average price of diesel has decreased 2.1 cents from last week and stands at $3.608 per gallon. You know, it's got that weird federal tax in there that causes it to be off a little bit. But the gas price trends are good. Now, how have things been impacted? Well, eggs are up 58.8%. Beef roasts are up 9.5%. Instant coffee, who drinks instant coffee? You people and your Keurigs. 8.6%. Olives, pickles, relish up 8%. Ground beef up 7.8%. Fish and seafood up 5.9%. Overall cost of food up 1.9%. Food away from home up 3.7%. But energy is down 0.2%. All items minus food and energy, those are the most volatile, up 3.1%, and all items combined up 2.8%, which is good. It's actually a very, very good number. Food at home prices up 1.9% overall. Now, the progress is bumpy. We're not settling down on a linear path, but this is a good direction. Now, upending this to a degree, a lot of business executives were at the White House yesterday, showed up, demanded meetings over the tariffs. They're not happy with the tariffs. Canada has doubled down on its tariffs, though the energy tariffs are going to go away. And part of this is confusion on the part of voters because there have been two conversations, one on tariffs, one on reciprocal tariffs. Reciprocal tariffs are something the president says he wants to do, but tariffs separate from reciprocal tariffs are also happening to Canada, Mexico, and China right now. The European Union is responding with an increase in tariffs on the United States. A trade war is happening. I was at a dinner last night, and there were some well-educated, well-to-do folks there who were talking about how they don't think most Americans understand tariffs. Actually, if you look at the exit polling of Americans, Americans understand that a tariff is a tax. They may not understand exactly how it's processed, but they understand they pay it. When tariffs go up, it's tax. The problem with tariffs is the tariffs don't care whether you're rich or poor. The tariffs are going to impact you, and so tariffs actually cause inflation because the price of goods rise. Now, contrary to what diehard opponents of tariffs say, if a tariff goes up 10%, your price is not going to go up 10%. But therein lies the problem. What do companies do? They may raise it 5%, and what do they do with the other 5%? Well, either they take it out of their profits or they lay people off to save money. So a tariff has a recessionary effect. It slows down the economy. It can cause layoffs as companies try not to pass the entire increase off to individuals. It is possible they lay people off. They cut back on dividends to shareholders, things like that. And so it has other negative effects. The reciprocal tariffs sound good. As I've said, I'm not terribly opposed to reciprocal tariffs, but there is something my buddy Scott Linscomb has pointed out this morning, that if you do reciprocal tariffs, you're creating a bureaucratic nightmare because you're dealing with 197 other countries as opposed to a broad tariff by category. Now, let's take the dairy tariffs from Canada because this has come up a lot that I brought up, 285% tariff on dairy imports from the United States. You know who negotiated that rate? Donald Trump. What his negotiation with Canada is that there would be a ceiling and the U.S. could export dairy products to Canada, and as long as it stayed under that ceiling, which was a very high number, there would be no tariff. So when people point to that 286% tariff, understand that that was negotiated in the last Trump administration, and there's a massive amount of exports for dairy we can send to Canada before that number goes into effect. So there aren't tariffs actually on dairy products going from the United States to Canada so long as the export volume is of a certain amount, and typically we never exceed that amount. So keep that in mind when people throw that number around, where the number comes from and how it operates. If you have tariffs, reciprocal tariffs based on every country and every product and every good, it becomes this bureaucratic nightmare. Ronald Reagan actually talked about tariffs. If you subscribe to my show notes, this morning you got the video of Ronald Reagan explaining why tariffs are bad and why reciprocal tariffs as well aren't particularly good, because there are ways around the reciprocal tariffs that are better. But a number of people have asked me, Erickson, if you don't like the tariffs, what would you advise? I have a suggestion. Instead of tariffs, and I don't even have to really push the ideas because actually it's happening. Trump supports both of my ideas. They're better than tariffs. The first idea is reduce the size of the federal government. I've used this analogy before. It's kind of crude, but think of a straw, and on each side of the straw there are connected two balloons that are inflated, connected through the straw. So you squeeze on one balloon, the other balloon grows. Think of those as the private sector and the public sector, the government and the private sector. If you squeeze on the government balloon and shrink it down, it grows the private sector. You squeeze the private sector, you're growing the government. So as long as we're issuing government bonds to fund the government, it's a safe investment. People put their money into government bonds, not into the private sector. They don't create jobs, they don't invest, they don't buy stock. So if you shrink the public sector, the private sector grows. You grow the private sector, you increase competition, you increase job production, you increase wages by shrinking government. You don't need tariffs to do that. The second thing is you get rid of the regulatory and legal burdens for small businesses to grow. There are a lot of financial regulations in this country that only apply to businesses that reach a certain market cap. The problem is that once a small business reaches that market cap, they can't grow above it because the regulatory and legal compliance costs are so high, they can't grow. They're at a ceiling. So a small business can't grow large enough to create a bunch of jobs. That stifles competition in the market. Banks are an excellent example. Think of the too big to fail banks in the country: J.P. Morgan, Citibank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau places enormous burdens on banks as they grow. So your local bank, your merchant and farmers bank, it can't grow to be a major bank to do the deals that a Bank of America can do because it is stifled by government regulation. As a result, it can't help as many small businesses grow. It can't employ people to grow. It can't do things that a bigger bank can do. You get rid of those regulations, you allow the small banks to grow. Or the community banking regulations. Most working class people actually don't use a big conglomerate bank like Bank of America. They use the local family bank in their community, the community-owned bank. But the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the FDIC, and the Treasury Department have imposed so many burdens on community banks, it's almost impossible to get a new one started, and it's virtually impossible for an existing one to grow. Get rid of the regulatory burdens on these small banks. Another example is software. A small technology company right now can't fend off the lawsuits when it develops an innovative product and other companies sue it claiming they stole their software. This is somewhat esoteric, I realize, but we used to actually apply software with copyright rules. So if you wrote code for a computer program and someone else wrote code for a computer program and they did the same thing but the code wasn't the same, well, we could say there was no copyright violation. You can both exist. You can have WordPerfect and you can have Microsoft Word. But now we use a patent system for software. And the patent system for software stifles innovation and stifles competition because someone goes out and gets a patent for something that's generally obvious on what a computer should be able to do, and then they enforce it against everyone else, and the small technology company can't create jobs and it can't grow because it's got to deal with the legal burden of the lawsuits for daring to innovate. You increase competition, you deregulate, you shrink government, you've overexceeded what tariffs are going to do for the economy. The problem with the tariffs is this. The Trump administration has diagnosed the problem correctly, and that is competition is a problem with the United States seemingly on an economic decline. The problem is that what the Trump administration has done to deal with the problem of economic decline is to say that competition is the problem as opposed to lack of competition. Actually, the reason the United States seems to be in economic decline now is because We cannot create new major companies in this country because of the anti-competitive behaviors of major corporations. And where do the anti-competitive nature of these corporations come from? Washington, D.C., where they lobby Congress and bureaucrats to put checks in to prop up those businesses so new businesses can't grow. The problem in the United States is not that we have too much competition, it's that we have too little competition. You increase competition by shrinking government and deregulating. This country is going to explode in growth. We're still the most entrepreneurial class of people in the world. We need to deregulate. We need to shrink government. We don't need tariffs. Tariffs are actually going to breed inefficiencies into the system. That would be my alternate proposal. The good news, however, is that the Trump administration recognizes we need deregulation and shrinking government. Now we just have to get Congress to act.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Much better news on 400 southbound for the commute out of Alpharetta into Roswell and Sandy Springs. The construction totally gone at Northridge, exit 6, so delays have improved there. Now seeing some brake lights, 575 southbound in Cherokee County from 6's Road, exit 11. Mostly that right lane slow due to left lane construction on the exit ramp southbound to Ridgewalk Parkway. And downtown, a few brake lights, 85 southbound before 17th Street. And you're sluggish through Midtown and into downtown from 17th down to I-20. Northbound tapping the brakes as well, just merging madness from I-20 as you make the drive up past Freedom Parkway. Then you break free for the rest of the ride up into Midtown. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
I've got a sense of humor.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
The driver of this vehicle is a better human being than you are.
He's Eric Von Hessler.
I'm here to tell you the truth.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hey, Dave Baker here. Let's talk garage doors. Your garage door. Is it too loud or letting air in around the frame? Overhead Door Company of Atlanta will make it all better. In March only, they will perform their full 26-task garage door tune-up for just $79. And just in March, that's just $79 for up to 3 garage doors and openers. You need this done once a year anyway, so why not now and for just $79? Schedule now at overheaddooratlanta.com.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. Today we're talking with window and door experts Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum, owners of North Georgia Replacement Windows. Ted, can you explain how the Infinity fiberglass windows can give us more daylight and bigger views in our home?
Because our Infinity Ultrex fiberglass is so strong, the frames of our windows are thinner, which gives you more daylight and bigger views. Our windows are not big and bulky like other replacement windows.
What if someone wants a window where there isn't one already?
Fortunately, we're licensed general contractors, and we can help with that. Our windows come in both a new construction and replacement option, so we're always guaranteed to have the perfect fit for your home.
How do the Infinity fiberglass windows measure up when it comes to energy efficiency?
Infinity windows have super energy efficient glass that will lower your energy bills and protect your floors, window treatments, and home furnishings from fading out from the damaging sun's UV rays.
Jonathan, anything else you'd like to add?
Just remember, if you're replacing your old windows that are leaking or rotting, choose Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows, or you're giving up both daylight and views. And not only are our fiberglass windows more durable, they are truly beautiful windows.
Jonathan and Ted, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, experience, and expertise. Right now at North Georgia Replacement Windows, spring deals are blooming. You'll get 18% off your project, plus up to 24 months no interest, no payment financing. That's 18% off your project, and up to 24 months no interest, no payment financing. Be sure to visit our beautiful new showroom in Alpharetta, and don't forget to check out our website for all the details on these special financing offers and savings. Visit us today at ngwindows.com. That's ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
Hey, Belinda here, and I have Barry Petrie, Director of Virtual Imaging. Barry has a very interesting testimonial to share with our listeners. Barry, Tell us your story.
Well, Belinda, exactly a year ago when I took over my role, one of the first things I did was scan. And at the time, I was 54 years old, never had any issues, was in a good shape, worked out every day. And I was shocked to find out that I had a score of over 1,000 on my calcium. So, and most of that 1,000 was concentrated in my LAD, which you know is the widowmaker.
Not good.
So immediately started working with an interventional cardiologist, started working with a functional medicine specialist to try to correct that. And unfortunately, about 4 months ago, I started having symptoms and rescanned. And at this point, my calcium score had gone from 1,000 to over 1,500, and that LAD score had gone up to over 1,000. So long story short, ended up going to Northside, getting a stent put into my LAD. And now today I feel great. I regained the gear that I didn't know that I had lost. And had I not taken this role as director of virtual imaging a year ago, I probably would have not known this. And I could have been one of those folks that looks perfectly healthy and drops dead.
Absolutely. Folks, that story hits home. What are you waiting for? Go to Virtual Imaging and get a complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or visit virtualimagingatl.com. It could save your life.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB. You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
If you're in the state of Georgia, this is very important. If you're in the state of Georgia, you need to text the word engage to the number 33777. You will get a link back from me. And if you click the link and put in your information, it's going to connect you to your state senator in Georgia so that you can ask him to kill the speed cameras and support the Dale Washburn legislation. You'll see the information on the screen. It'll tell you the legislation number. The legislation made it out of your state house. It's in your state Senate. Lobbyists for the corporations involved with the cameras have dumped $150,000 onto the state Senate Republicans, trying to bribe them to oppose the people who want these cameras killed. Text the word engage to 33777. The Senate is meeting today. Call today and tell your senator to kill this legislation, or to kill the cameras, support the legislation, kill the cameras. A sheriff in Butts County, Georgia came out today and said that the cameras are actually operating unconstitutionally, and people who aren't lawyers don't realize it. So if you're a lawyer or a judge, they're waiving your ticket, and everyone else doesn't know that they're operating unconstitutionally. One county in the middle of Georgia has raked in $8 million, much of it from cameras that are operating when they're legally not allowed to, and people don't know the law, so they're paying the money. It's a huge scam. It's not for school safety. If you text ENGAGE to 33777, you can take action in the state of Georgia. Text ENGAGE to 33777. Speaking of, there's some polling out that shows just how bungled the Democrats have become when it comes to trans issues. John Ossoff is probably the most endangered Democrat in the United States Senate. He's from Georgia. He voted against legislation that would protect girls' sports. When you tell people that, 52% of voters say they'll vote against him. That's how bad this is for Democrats. In states like Georgia, swing states, 52% of voters are willing to reject a Democrat in the Senate because he wants boys to play girls' sports. And the Democrats can't get away from this stuff. Now, I want you to go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE and tell them I sent you. You'll save some money and get a great computer from them. You know, we had Pierce called yesterday and talked about his positive experience with them. Saved him money, got him a great machine, and any tech support issue they've had, they've called 3-4 seconds. Somebody answers the phone, and he can get the answer. They can remote in. They can fix your computer. Now, listen, tariffs may be going up on electronic products. If you want to avoid the tariffs, get your technology purchases in soon. Not only that, Vision Computer has a great staff capable of helping you not get scammed when you get those emails or the text messages telling you to pay a toll fine or something like that. Vision's on top of it for you. They can even remote into your computer to help you. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. Vision Computers can build your computers, get them to you, be your tech support, remote in to help you, email support, printer support, you name it. Visioncomputers.com, or call them at 404-COMPUTE and tell them I sent you, and they'll give you a great deal. 404-COMPUTE, anywhere nationwide.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. New numbers on inflation today.
Prices rose more slowly last month than expected. Prices up 2.8% from a year ago. They're still going up, but they're improving.
Reporter Rebecca Jarvis says tariffs on China are starting to impact prices on clothing and household furnishings. So what do you think of how the president is handling the economy? A new CNN poll finds that 56% of respondents feel negatively about the work that the president has done with the economy since taking office. Meanwhile, 44% say they approve and 1% say they have no opinion. Your weather for today, a beautiful afternoon, sunny skies headed for a high of 77, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a matter of minutes. The U.S. is cracking down on long-term visits from Canadians. Visitors that are planning to stay longer than 30 days are now required to register with the government. A new mandate uploaded to the Federal Register says that anybody over the age of 14 will also need to apply for fingerprinting with authorities. This tightens an existing law that Canadians used to be exempt from. It comes as the U.S., Canada, and Mexico are locked in a trade war over President Trump's new tariffs. New information this afternoon in the disappearance of a 20-year-old University of Pittsburgh student in the Dominican Republic. Police now say the man she was last seen with is a person of interest in this case. The two were seen on video walking out with their arms around each other from the hotel they were staying at. Then at 8:54 the next morning, the man was seen returning to that hotel alone. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow is down 17 at 41,415. So the Dow's down slightly. NASDAQ is up more than 1.5%, and the S&P's up more than 0.5%. It's 12:32.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful. The following is a paid commercial announcement.
There's a hidden tax costing hardworking Georgians over $5,000 every year. Governor Kemp's tort reform legislation will end this tax and lower costs for families. It will also protect victims. Listen to Governor Kemp.
The bill that I will sign is not going to keep anyone in this state from receiving the justice that they deserve.
Ensuring our justice system is fair and accessible and lowering costs for us. Tell Georgia's lawmakers, stand with Governor Kemp and pass tort reform. Paid for by Protecting American Consumers Together.
Hey, it's Scott Slade from iRoofer, FGA Roofing. Is your roof starting to show its age? It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It happens. Taking on all that nature can throw at it year after year. Well, the good news is you're not stuck with a worn, outdated look on your home. If your home's exterior could use an upgrade, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, now is the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberline shingles, much more. Slate, tile, wood shake, and of course asphalt shingles. FGA has them all. A new designer roof can be an instant eye appeal update for your home that'll last for many years, and your timing is terrific. FGA Roofing can be at your home the next day for a no obligation quote and get your job finished in 2 weeks in most cases. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. And for a limited time, get $1,000 off your final quote if you mention you heard about FGA Roofing from Scott Slade. Just search FGA Roofing. That's FGA Roofing.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Still watching the brake lights in DeKalb, 285 east and northbound, starting before Flat Shoals, all trying to get onto I-20 eastbound where there's construction in the right lane of that collector distributor ramp. Elsewhere, traveling downtown, on and off the brakes southbound from the 85-400 merge as you make your way into Midtown. And in Cherokee County, 575 southbound, seeing brake lights from Sixes Road. It's all due to construction in the left lane of the ramp from 575 south to Ridgewalk Parkway, causing those delays to spill back onto 575 south. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunshine and very warm today, high 77.
More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls across America, welcome. I need to say something publicly here. Lafayette, merci. I am forever grateful to the program director there, Joe Cunningham, who is moving me to KPEL, which is a ginormous radio station in Acadiana. And being a native, I discovered that one of the members of my team has never had Cajun food in his life. And we're going to have to do a tour of Préjean's and Don's in Lafayette and let him compare the gumbos. I actually like Don's gumbo better than Préjean's, but I like a lot of the food at Préjean's. The fried shrimp at Préjean's I like better than Don. If you don't know, you don't know. But if you ever go to Lafayette, Louisiana, Préjean's and Don's are two of the greatest restaurants you'll ever eat at on planet Earth. And I'm horrified to know someone who works for me has never had Cajun food. I'm going to have to make gumbo. But thank you, Lafayette. Merci. Much, much appreciated. And I'm looking forward to coming down there. Likewise, WFTL down in South Florida. Looking forward to come seeing you guys as well, moving noon to 3 there as well. They just made that official. Very humbled, grateful for people taking a chance on me. Now, I am going to get into the news, which is actually more important than me and my show. The continuing resolution has passed the House of Representatives. The continuing resolution, they lost Thomas Massie. They picked up Jared Golden, the swingy Democrat from Maine. So 217 votes to get it done, given the absences in the House due to vacancies due to appointments to the president's administration. They only needed 217 votes, not 218, to get it across the finish line, and they did it. And now it's off to the Senate. And therein lies the rub for the United States Senate. This is Chris Coons of Delaware speaking on CNN. Let's see. Got to rearrange this again. Having video issues yet again, of course. Chris Coons speaking on CNN about the continuing resolution.
I'm going to vote against what came over from the House Republicans to the Senate last night because I don't want to give my vote to support what Trump and Musk are doing. I do think there's real risks to a government shutdown, so I respect those who are saying they are concerned that President Trump will go even further if we hand him that possibility. But what's come over, which is often called a clean CR in the talk of the Congress, is not clean, it's dirty. It's got lots of provisions that will make cuts and harm organizations and communities all over our country. So, Sarah, I think this is a terrible idea. We should instead be working together to finish our 2025 bipartisan appropriations that we've got ready to go here in the Senate and find an agreement that keeps the government open for 30 days while we finish that work.
Question. I have a question. It's a trivia question. Which entity governs the government's shutdown procedures when the government is not funded? Which administrative agency governs the government and guides its shutdown when the government is not funded? Does anybody know the answer? This is why Angus King, the independent Democrat from Maine, came out 10 minutes ago and said, I think I have to vote for the CR. I don't want to, but I was just informed who controls the government if there's a shutdown. Do you have any idea? Why, that would be my friend Russ Vought in the Office of Management and Budget. Yes, Democrats, if you shut down the government, you put Russ Vought in charge, not Donald Trump. Yes, the director of the Office of Management and Budget oversees a government shutdown. And remember, the Democrats hate Russ Vought. And he will be in charge of administering a government shutdown, including laying off personnel and shutting down lawfully established entities that he now, because of government shutdown, has the power to shut down. Democrats, I'm begging you. I am begging you, Democrats, for all that is decent in this world. I am begging you for all that is good and holy and righteous on planet Earth. Filibuster the continuing resolution. Shut the government down. I beg you, Democrats, don't go along with the GOP. Don't go along with them. You can't give them a win on this. You can't give them a win. Look at your base. Your base is telling you to fight. You're going to provoke a civil war if you fund the government. If you allow the continuing resolution to go forward, you're going to provoke a fight with your base. And this, my friends, is the glorious schadenfreudelicious nature of what we're dealing with. So here's the thing. If the Democrats vote for the continuing resolution, they're voting to fund deportations. If the Democrats vote for the continuing resolution, they're voting to fund DOJ's ongoing sabotage of the government. That's been placed in the continuing resolution, and they're voting for that. If they don't vote for it, they're with their base. The Democratic base is insisting that they let it shut down. The Democratic base is furious that the Democrats might go along with funding deportations and DOJ. It's in the spending package. This is a brilliant maneuver by Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. It is just think of the pleas and the situation. Here's Politico right now. This is right now, just hit the wires on Politico. Senate Democrats are grappling with whether or not to support a House GOP funding patch less than 3 days before a possible government shutdown. With 52 Republicans expected to back the House pass stopgap, 8 Democrats would need to help advance it to a final Senate vote. So far, only one, John Fetterman, has indicated he'll support it. Other key swing votes are on the fence. Mark Kelly told reporters he remains undecided on the 7-month funding bill, which passed the House on Tuesday. Senator Tim Kaine didn't rule out voting for the bill. We're trying to get some amendments to make it better, he said. The lingering indecision comes as Senate Democrats plan to meet Wednesday afternoon for a closed-door lunch where they're expected to discuss their strategy ahead of the Friday midnight shutdown deadline. They face growing pressure from the left flank of their party to oppose the bill, but it's not clear any Plan B could pass in time to avoid a shutdown. The House Republicans adjourned the chamber on Tuesday night. Members will not return until March 24th. Democrats are wrestling with a politically treacherous choice. They don't want to be blamed for a shutdown. And while they don't want to risk further empowering Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk as they slash government, some within the caucus are worried that allowing a government shutdown would play into the men's hands. AOC is joining a chorus of progressives publicly urging Senate Democrats to oppose the legislation and that they should filibuster it. Here's the compromise that Senate Democrats are thinking of doing. In the United States Senate, you have to vote to close debate, and then you vote on the legislation. It takes 60 votes in the Senate to close debate. That's the filibuster. What the Democrats are plotting doing right now is voting to close debate and then refusing to vote for the bill. So you need 60 votes to close the debate, but only 50 to pass the bill, because J.D. Vance could break the vote for a tie, 50-50. It'll be 52 Republicans, though, who actually vote for the bill. So the Democrats can say they oppose the legislation. They can all vote against the legislation, but they will allow it to come to a vote. And AOC is calling their BS on this. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and progressive Democrats are saying, if you vote to close debate, you are voting for the legislation. There is no wiggle room for you here. We know what you're doing. You are allowing the Republicans to fund the border deportations and to fund DOGE. But here's the other side of it. If the Democrats filibuster the legislation, they shut the government down. And if they shut the government down, they put Russ Vought in charge of the federal government. And Russ Vought will be merciless. Russ Vought will fire people, lay people off, shut down governmental entities. He will be ruthless in reshaping the federal government so that when it reopens, it will be unrecognizable in its present form. And the hilarious part of it is voters won't really feel a thing, because Russ will keep open the national monuments, unlike Barack Obama, who closed them down. Russ will allow you to go see the monuments and the museums. It's all the bureaucrats behind the scenes who will disappear, sight unseen. The Republicans, I got to tell you, God bless Mike Johnson. Some of you wanted to toss Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson designed this. It is the perfect trap for the Democrats. It is the perfect trap. You know, my buddy Joe Cunningham, program director over in Lafayette, he started referring to Mike Johnson as Magic Mike. I think I got to go with this, Magic Mike. Some say his name is Magic Mike. Magic Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, has constructed the most brilliant trap for the Democrats. They will either fund deportations and DOGE and keep the government open, or they will shut the government down and put Russ Vought in charge of the government. Ladies and gentlemen, this is brilliant. You're either empowering Elon Musk or you're empowering Russ Vought. This is so good. And the Democrats don't know it. The Democrats have never been in this position before. They've literally never been in the position to be the ones to shut down the government. Usually it's the Republicans who are shutting down the government. I can't remember the last time it was the Democrats who actually in Congress collaborated to shut down the government. Usually it's a Republican effort. Not this time. And this time the Republicans have so beautifully turned the table on the Democrats. The Republicans will win. I mean, it's like heads the Republicans win, tails the Democrats lose. You either empower Elon Musk or you empower Russ Vought. Who do you want to empower? Pick your poison, Democrats. That's the beauty of what Mike Johnson has done. And by the way, Mike Johnson does deserve a lot of credit. I can hear people say, what about the president? What about the president? What about the president? The president certainly twisted enough arms to get them on board the plan, but you got to give Mike Johnson the credit here. Magic Mike designed the plan. Magic Mike came up with this, and even Senate Republicans doubted he could get it done. Remember, the Senate Republicans were plotting over Mike Johnson's behind his back to try to do something else. They didn't think he could pull it off. Not only did Magic Mike Johnson pull this off, he's got the Democrats backed into a corner where it literally is heads Republicans win, tails Democrats lose. You empower Elon Musk, you empower Russ Vought, pick your poison, Democrats. This is just beautiful to watch happen. The Democrats get everything they deserve in this. And if they don't filibuster, not only do they empower Elon Musk and fund the government the way Donald Trump wants it funded, but they make their base so mad they start a civil war on the Democratic Party side. Progressives will be furious with the Democrats if they move forward with this. If the Democrats have the audacity to fund the federal government, deportations, and DOGE, the progressive base of the Democratic Party will skin them alive. Magic Mike Johnson has set up the Democrats for destruction. With a big assist by Steve Scalise, by John Thune, by Donald Trump, by J.D. Vance, but this was the Speaker of the House's plan, and it has come about perfectly. The Democrats have no way out of this except pain. It's going to be hilarious to see in their meeting today how they decide they're going to operate. Now, I got to tell you, it may be painful for you to use your current bank, but you should use Old Glory Bank. They are my bank. They've been my bank for 2 years now, and I have loved them. And it's weird to talk with effusive praise about a bank, but they're such good people. They are conservatives. They are by conservatives, for conservatives. Mike, the CEO of Old Glory Bank, I've gotten to know, he testified in Congress a couple of weeks ago about the debanking trends in the country and how banks are under pressure from progressives to shut down conservative bank accounts for conservative businesses, for gun stores, for gun owners, things like that. And so Old Glory Bank came about to stop these debanking trends against conservatives. They are by conservatives, for conservatives. If you're a gun store, Old Glory Bank is the safest bank for you to do business with. And they're a real bank. They do mortgages. They do car loans. They do business loans. They do CDs. They've got great savings account rates. They've got great checking accounts. They've got great online features, great bill pay features, a great, fantastic app. Their debit card is actually beautifully designed. It's actually a beautiful card with great American flag logo. OldGloryBank.com. You can sign up online, OldGloryBank.com. OldGloryBank.com. Takes less than 8 minutes to get an account for your business or yourself. You can get a no-fee check in your savings account. That's what I've got. OldGloryBank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1251 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching that slow zone in Cherokee County, 575 southbound between Sixes Road and Ridgewalk Parkway. It's all due to construction on the exit ramp to Ridgewalk Parkway. Left lane of that ramp is blocked there. 75 southbound, tapping the brakes through Marietta from Highway 5 down to the South 120 loop. In DeKalb County, still seeing the delays. 285 east and northbound, the outer loop. Before Flat Shoals, trying to get on the I-20 eastbound. That's due to the construction in the right lane of the 20 East collector distributor ramp. Once you get past that, it's in the left lane approaching Panola Road, but luckily those delays aren't too bad as you make that drive out into Lithonia. And westbound, a few brake lights as well, passing Wesley Chapel Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Stay connected to Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic with the 95.5 WSB app. Listen to Atlanta's morning news. EVH, Erick Erickson, Mark Aram, and Shelley Winter. No matter where you go, 95.5 WSB and the WSB app. Download it today or find us in the iHeart and Odyssey apps.
You take it for granted, but it's the biggest piece of moving equipment in your home, your garage door. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. When trust matters, like when your garage door doesn't open or needs to be replaced, trust us. Here's why. All Four Seasons is a local, family-owned company built over 25 years ago on honesty, customer service, and teamwork. If you've got garage door issues, trust us to repair or replace. We'll make it easy. All, the number 4, seasonsgarages.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray Or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on Portfolio X-Ray, or click on Full Retirement Plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
When it comes to your home, quality is crucial. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus. The Plus means siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. Quality comes first. We have the most experienced exterior craftsmen in the industry.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. Listen up wherever you are in the United States. If you're growing your business and you need access to $250,000 or more for a capital building project, for you're buying a building, you're buying a franchise, you're buying out a competitor or a business partner, you see opportunity, and your current lender isn't sure they're down with it, you should reach out to them. The Frost family's been doing this since the 90s, helping small businesses become big businesses across the United States. FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Get all their contact info. Tell them I sent you. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if they're a fit for you. See if you're a fit for them. They're really good people to work with if you see opportunity for your business to grow, and you need $250,000 or more, or $75,000. If it's like heavy equipment, they can work with you on that. FirstLibertyGA.com. Y'all, a lot of you have had this intuitive sense. For the last 2 years, you have just had this intuitive sense that something's not right with the economy. You've known it. We've all known it, but you haven't really been able to articulate it because a lot of the data seems to suggest the economy's good, and the media has insisted to you that the economy was good, that it was the greatest economic comeback ever after COVID. Apollo Global Management, which, by the way, is the parent company of my flagship station, WSB, it has released data today. 25% of jobs added to the U.S. economy over the past 2 years were government jobs. A quarter of all the jobs in the last 2 years have been government jobs. We're told the private sector doesn't have enough employees, and now Elon Musk and Doge and the Trump administration are winding down the size of the federal government, allowing a lot of people to go back into the private sector and fill jobs there. That's actually a good reset for the economy to move people back into the private sector and reduce the size and scope of the federal government. 25% of all jobs in the U.S. economy in the last 2 years were government jobs. That's not healthy for a private sector economy at all, and it's time to correct it. That is the explanation. When we come back, the Chinese are screaming racism over plans to prohibit the Chinese Communist Party from owning land in the United States.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down.
get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. Our top story, inflation slowed down in February for the first time since September, but it may just be temporary for consumers. Business reporter Jason Brooks has details.
The government's February Consumer Price Index rose 2.8% from a year earlier, down from January and below market expectations. Egg prices continue to stand out due to the bird flu, up more than 10% from January and up nearly 59% from a year ago. The Federal Reserve will be pleased to see inflation returning towards its 2% target after percolating higher for several months. But the Fed will likely continue pausing rates at next week's meeting, given that the tariff effect on pricing is just starting to show up for wholesalers and then consumers.
As Georgia farmers deal with hardships from tariffs and spending cuts, the head of the USDA meets with state officials today.
Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says the administration knows farmers face challenges.
The president is extremely focused on what this will mean to our farmers and our ranchers.
Her visit comes after the USDA announced plans to cut a $1 billion program for schools to buy produce from local farmers.
Multiples of grants had already been moved out under that program.
Rollins says they are trying to ensure that farmers who have already spent money from expected grants get their funding. From the state capitol, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
Hope you're lucky enough to be able to get outside today. It's going to be beautiful. Sunny this afternoon, warm, highs around 77, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Big changes, though, for the weekend. This is new this hour. A Walton County man accused of killing his ex-girlfriend is now under arrest. The Newton County Sheriff's Office found the body of Colette Sacy in a lake in Covington earlier this month. At the time, they determined that her cause of death was a homicide. Her ex-boyfriend, Travis Abbott, was arrested at a home in Loganville this week. He's now facing charges of murder and concealing a death. A big cleanup underway at a historic cemetery in DeKalb County.
The Thomasville Cemetery in South DeKalb has been neglected for more than 10 years. The Metro South Community Improvement District hopes to freshen up the historic graveyard, according to the group's Emma Smith.
It started in the 1800s, was one of the first burials, I believe, around 1850. And then the last burial was around 1952, and it's just been neglected.
Because many former slaves were buried there, their loved ones used yucca plants to mark the graves, as headstones were expensive. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
If you're in your car, lane closures on Peachtree Street in downtown Atlanta in effect. They're going to be in effect each weekday from now until Friday. A lane in each direction will be closed for resurfacing work from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. That's between Baker Street and Ellis Street. It's 102.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Is painting the house on your project list? Make this the last time you paint with Rhino Shield, backed by a 25-year warranty.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
At Butler Lexus South Atlanta, they make service seamless. Utilize their convenient working stations, enjoy their cafe, or relax in their guest lounge. Need to stay on the go? They provide complimentary rental vehicles. Visit ButlerLexusSouthAtlanta.com to schedule your appointment.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
We got some better news in DeKalb County. Traffic troopers tell me there was some trouble 85 southbound Pleasantdale Road exit 96. It's cleared off to the right, but seeing some lingering delays back toward Indian Trail Road. 575 southbound still jammed up from 6's Road exit 11 down to Ridgewalk Parkway exit 9, all due to construction on the left lane of that exit ramp. And right lane construction toward the airport. 285 southbound, the outer loop before Camp Creek Parkway exit number 2. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunshine and very warm today, high 77. Clouds roll in for tonight, lows in the low 50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with an isolated rain shower or thunderstorm possible, high 72. Friday, mostly cloudy and breezy, highs in the mid-70s.
Sunny and 73 in Marietta. College Park has 74 degrees under sunny skies, and it's 70 in Decatur. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
1-0, all engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello, America. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number, you want to be on the program, 877-973-7425. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, the social media links as we continue to grow around the country, hitting 70 stations now in our growth plans across America. Real quick, just a housekeeping note. If you're in the state of Georgia and text the word engage to 33777, you go into the action portal for the show, contact your state senators and tell them to get rid of those speed cameras at schools. Legislation's pending in the state Senate. Lobbyists have given the Republicans in the Senate $150,000 trying to bribe them into standing with the corporations, not the people. You can text them. Your voice will be heard. We'll connect you to your state senator. Text engage to 33777. There's a story in the Federalist from my longtime friend Chuck DeVore in Texas that I want to call your attention to. As I understand it, there are some Asian martial arts, jiu-jitsu in particular, where you essentially use your opponent's strengths against them. So you find ways to leverage your opponent's strength in a way to beat them. And this is something, if you ever read Sun Tzu in The Art of War, it's a great book, by the way. Everyone should read The Art of War. It's very insightful. There are things that stand out in Sun Tzu. One is you do attempt to find and exploit your opponent or your enemy's strengths and turn it into their weakness. And also, you set yourself up as stealthily as possible to have won the war before you even start it. You need to understand this is pervasive thinking in Sun Tzu's Art of War, and it is pervasive thinking within Chinese Communist Party strategy. You find your opponent's strength and make it his weakness, find a way to make it his weakness, and you set yourself on a stealthy path to win a war before the first shot is fired. The Chinese have been buying private property in this country. One of the great strengths of the United States compared to a place like communist China is private property. We don't want to ban the purchase of private property because private property is a very distinctly American enterprise where we buy the land. I'm from Louisiana. Much of the land in my part of the state were king's grants from either the Spanish king or the French king. And you can trace your land back. My family farm in Louisiana, soon to be up for sale, is land like that. You can trace the land grant all the way back to the monarchies of Europe. Beautiful land. Private property is one of the institutions in the United States that the Pilgrims established at Plymouth. It's if you read the diaries of the founders of Plymouth, they went through that very, very hard winter in Plymouth where it was a communal property and communal work, and they nearly starved. And was it William Bradford, the governor there, decided instead that every single person would be given a plot of land. It would be their plot of land to farm, and if they had an overabundance, they could sell it, and they began to prosper. And after about 5 years, Bradford decided, you know what? Instead of shaking up the plot and every year people get different land, we're just going to give these people the land. It's going to be their family land. And they and their heirs, their descendants, can own this land and they can farm it and they can prosper. And it was a success. And the idea of private property took hold early in this country. And we as a nation, both a physical nation and the ideal that is America, pride ourselves on life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And part of the pursuit of happiness is the purchase of land. And we allow immigrants to come into this country and buy land. And the Chinese recognize that that is a unique strength of American culture. And they're trying to use it as a weakness. And the way they're trying to use it as a weakness is to purchase land in the United States in key areas that are strategic. So, for example, the Chinese are collaborating in Mexico with the drug cartels to make fentanyl and bring it across the border. And guess where the Chinese have been buying land in the United States? Along the border. A Chinese general actually tried to buy a massive plot of land in Texas along the border with Mexico. In Montana, the Chinese have been buying land near American military installations, particularly nuclear installations. They've been setting up signal intelligence. Chuck DeVore, writing in The Federalist, I sat in the Texas Senate State Affairs Committee hearing on March 6th, watching a parade of witnesses, roughly 30 people, all but 4 were likely naturalized citizens or green card holders from China, rail against SB 17, a bill authored by Senator Lois Kolkhorst. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Kolkhorst. Kolkhorst, a Republican from Brenham, Texas, to stop hostile foreign entities from snapping up Texas land. What I saw wasn't just a policy debate. It was a masterclass in how the Chinese Communist Party turns American freedoms into weapons against us. SB 17, dubbed the Stopping Foreign Adversaries Land Grabs, is straightforward. It bars governments, their agents, and entities from China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea from owning Texas dirt. Kolkhorst's aim is clear. Keep hostile regimes away from our military bases, farmlands, and infrastructure like Laughlin Air Force Base in Del Rio, Texas, or the ranches feeding our state. The bill carves out U.S. citizens and lawful permanent resident aliens, meaning most of those testifying wouldn't even be affected if it became law. Yet to hear them tell it, you'd think Texas was resurrecting Jim Crow and the Chinese Exclusion Act to strip Asians of their rights. At one point, a senior political organizer from the awkwardly named National Korean American Service and Education Consortium, NAKASEC, Action Fund Texas, launched into a script that could have been written by Beijing. Quote, SB 17 threatens to unfairly strip individuals of their property rights based solely on their national origin. They warned of a massive investigation and seizure without due process. They invoked Jim Crow, claiming the bill's vagueness, down to weeds 3 feet high, as a public nuisance, would target immigrants, even citizens from designated countries. The kicker, discriminatory practices have no place in our legal system. That was their quote. Discriminatory practices have no place in our legal system. Then there was the witness, one of the first up, who claimed SB 17 specifically targets the Asian community, predicating a surge in hate crimes where most Asian grandmas and grandpas are attacked. Their blood on your hands. The bill, again, does not affect citizens or green card holders, a status most of the people testifying likely hold. Across 30-plus testimonies, the refrain was identical. Discrimination, lost land rights, racist overreach. It was a chorus so tight, you'd swear they rehearsed it. Here's the rub. I've seen the playbook before. Back in 2009, as a California assemblyman, I watched Chinese consulate reps swarm the state capitol to kill a Tibet Awareness Day resolution. They leaned on Democrats, including some now big names like Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass and Congressman Ted Lieu, to tank it, proving the CCP's United Front Work Department doesn't just meddle overseas, it twists U.S. politics at every level. Seeing the same machine humming in Austin last week, I decided to shift my narrative, pointing out that those who testified before me amplified a narrative straight from the Chinese embassy, as chronicled in the Washington Post in 2023. Land restrictions on hostile nations fuel Asian hatred and racial discrimination. For good measure, I noted the same U.S. or Chinese embassy threatened the United States with war the day before. The United Front Work Department of the Chinese Communist Party thrives on mobilizing diaspora voices and sympathetic groups like the Nakasek Group to cry racism. The real aim is to block Beijing's strategic land grabs. Texas isn't targeting Asian grandmothers. It's targeting a regime that's bought up 350,000 acres of U.S. farmland since 2010, often near military installations. Chinese entities like the Fufeng Group snapped up land at Grand Forks Air Force Base, or Sun Guanxi's sprawl near Laughlin aren't real estate deals. They're espionage hubs and food security plays. The FBI's got counterintelligence cases piling up. China's not here to play nice. Yet the testimony I heard ignored all this. The Nakasek organizers fretted about the Texas Attorney General's expanded powers. But the law's enforcement is tied to clear security risks, not nationality witch hunts. One witness dragged up a 2020 Midland knife attack to stoke fear, but the bill's exemptions shred the Victimhood Act. The same witness claimed Texas was fourth highest in Asian hate crimes, but Texas is the second most populous state. The progressive utopias of Washington, New York, and California rank ahead of Texas in the same report. But it wasn't about facts. It was about theater. States like South Dakota and Georgia are now fighting the same fight, passing laws to lock out hostile ownership. But the Chinese Communist Party's influence machine keeps grinding, banking on our openness to choke sensible policies with guilt trips. It's all part of their plan, folks. This is from Chuck DeVore. Chuck DeVore is the Chief National Initiatives Officer at the Texas Public Policy Foundation, used to be in the California legislature as a retired U.S. Army lieutenant colonel. He and his wife, wonderful human beings. I don't get to see them enough. They're wonderful people. And Chuck is right. The Chinese are trying to twist our freedoms and use them against us. The Chinese are buying up American land near military installations. They're buying up large tracts of land that have provided food for Americans and then killing the farming, reducing our access to food grown domestically. The Chinese are playing a long game, and they're using the art of war. They are laying the foundational work to beat us before the first shot is ever fired. They are turning our strengths into our weakness. It is a good thing that we allow people to come to this country and buy land. It is not a good thing that we would allow our adversaries to do it. The Chinese, the Russians, the North Koreans, the Iranians. Yesterday in the North Sea, 2 tankers collided with each other. Witnesses on the one vessel carrying fuel for the American military It was a tanker ship carrying fuel for the U.S. military. It was collided into by another tanker. Witnesses on the American tanker carrying fuel for the Defense Department said that the other tanker ran into it and continued to run into it. There was no attempt to back off for 10 minutes. The other ship continued its engines full steam ahead as explosions started happening. Turns out the captain of the ship that collided into the American ship is a Russian national. This appears to be a subversive act of war. The Russians targeting a ship that was sending fuel to the American military, exploding it. The Chinese buying land in this country near military installations and setting up surveillance equipment. And then having the audacity to go to state legislatures and scream racism. Playing into the sensibilities of sensitive politicians who don't want to be accused of being a racist. It's time to take action. It's time for Texas to pass SB 17. Georgia, South Dakota, Florida, other states all dealing with the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, the North Koreans trying to buy land in their states. Florida has put their foot down on it. Georgia has as well. South Dakota considering it. We're vulnerable because we're good people, and we should remain a good people. But good people also have to exercise common sense, locking your doors at night, keeping the Chinese from buying your land to weaponize it against you. It's time for Texas and other states to take action against the communist Chinese trying to buy up American land to use it against us.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Brake lights 85 southbound out of Gwinnett from around Pleasant Hill Road down toward Indian Trail. Earlier trouble at Pleasantdale Road, exit 96 in DeKalb is cleared. 285 eastbound, brake lights filling in Dorville from Buford Highway, trying to ramp onto I-85 northbound. And left lane construction continues 575 southbound, the exit ramp to Ridgewalk Parkway in Cherokee County. Traffic brought to you by Lear Capital. Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA Guide at BetterNestEgg.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The U.S. is investing up to $1 billion to fight the spread of bird flu.
At the top and bottom of every hour.
Traffic congestion around Metro Atlanta continues to cost commuters.
And when it breaks.
The suspect is in critical condition after being struck multiple times.
Check back 3, 4, 5 times a day for the latest.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
At Ameris Bank, we're invested in the success of your business. Our local bankers are ready to help you improve your cash flow, optimize your operating accounts, and access financing when you need it. From treasury services and digital banking to loans and lines of credit, we offer tailored solutions to help your business thrive. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. Visit amerisbank.com/withyourbusiness or walk into one of our branches today to get started. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All loans subject to credit approval.
When your termite bond renewal comes in the mail, do you cringe wondering, how much more are they going to charge me now? Switch to Breda Pest Management and your termite rate is locked in for 10 years. Hey, it's Mark Aram here. If your termite service doesn't inspect inside, how do you know you're protected? With Breda, you get total peace of mind that your home is termite-free inside and out, and your termite rate is locked in for 10 full years.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Join Eric's army of activists and let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you. If you text Eric to 33777, you can get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, and a whole lot more. And if you live in the state of Georgia, there is an active action alert for you. Text ENGAGE to 33777. You'll get a link back. You can use it, put in your phone number. It'll connect you to your state senator to tell him to support the legislation that would kill those speed cameras at school. That the sheriff in Butts County has come out and said are actually operating unconstitutionally, and people need to know they're being operated on unconstitutionally. I'll take phone calls when we come back. Right now, I got to tell you, there's some big news in Washington, D.C. Jeanne Shaheen has decided she won't run for re-election, and that is very big news. Jeanne Shaheen is the incumbent senator for the state of New Hampshire. And the former governor of New Hampshire, Governor Sununu, is saying he may jump into the race. If so, given his popularity in the state and his willingness to confront Donald Trump that makes moderates in New Hampshire like him, he's got the potential to pull this seat to the GOP, increasing the GOP in the Senate. Also, you've got Jon Ossoff down in Georgia. New polling out shows that voters in Georgia, 52% of voters in Georgia will vote against Jon Ossoff if they know he supports boys and girls sports. That's a big issue that the GOP is exploiting in the state of Georgia, particularly with young black men. This issue plays very well for young black men who do not like the idea of their daughters having to compete against boys. So you've got Ossoff in Georgia, very likely a Republican pickup, and now you've got Jeanne Shaheen stepping aside in New Hampshire. The Democrats were begging her to stay one more 6-year term in the Senate so they wouldn't have to spend money on New Hampshire. Now they're going to have to with Governor Sununu looking like he's going to jump into the race. It makes the odds of the GOP keeping the Senate very good, which is great because even if you lose the House, you can still get Trump's judges put on the bench through the United States Senate. It's a very big deal. Americans for Prosperity is trying to help the Republicans advance common sense conservative solutions. They'd love to have you on board. They're the largest and leading grassroots group in the United States. They've set up a website, protectprosperity.com, and they're reason for doing so is because they want you to be able to weigh in with your members of the legislature, members of the House and Senate, and tell them to advance the common sense reforms that are so needed in this country to lower the cost for families, to drive school choice, common sense tax solutions, and Protect Prosperity right now is all about helping the president advance his tax cut package. If you go to protectprosperity.com, you'll be able to sign up and take action in Congress to tell your state, to tell your U.S. representatives and tell your senators to advance common sense tax solutions. You'll be able to stay informed on what the process is, what the lay of the land is, what the proposals are, and how to help the president get his tax cuts passed. Just go to protectprosperity.com. Sign up today. Americans for Prosperity has chapters in just about every single state of the union. They'd love to have you on board. They'll turn you into a very effective advocate for common sense conservative solutions. And likewise, you'll be able to inform your neighbors. Protectprosperity.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. This could be bad news for Atlanta-based Delta Airlines. Alex Stone reporting airlines are sounding the alarm. Financial turbulence ahead.
Each of the major U.S. airlines is now putting out guidance that there is significant economic uncertainty directly impacting domestic bookings. Worries about the future of the economy, along with fears over recent crashes, have Americans pulling back from travel. United, Southwest, American, and Delta say government and corporate bookings have plummeted. United saying government bookings are down 50%. Airlines will be reducing the number of seats by flying fewer or smaller planes into markets because of the downturn.
All right, your weather for today, simply gorgeous. Sunny skies and 77, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. A convicted child rapist in Cherokee County is sentenced to 35 years in prison. 34-year-old Alex Trinidad of Marietta, convicted in January on charges of rape, child molestation, and cruelty to children. The rape occurred in April of 2023 at a home in Ackworth when that child was just 14 years old. The U.S. is cracking down on long-term visits from Canadians. Visitors that are planning to stay longer than 30 days are now required to register with the government. A new mandate uploaded to the Federal Register says that anybody over the age of 14 will also need to apply for fingerprinting with authorities. This tightens an existing law that Canadians used to be exempt from. It comes as the U.S., Canada, and Mexico are locked in a trade war over President Trump's new tariffs. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is up 96 at 41,530. NASDAQ is also in positive territory, up more than 1.5%, and the S&P's up almost a full percent. It's 132.
There aren't many things more precious than your engagement ring. The start of your love story, a symbol of your commitment that you get to treasure every day. Have you ever thought about breathing new life into that ring? At D. Geller & Sons Spring Bridal event, we're bringing the most exclusive names in engagement and wedding ring design to you with their full assortments. Come to D. Geller & Son for the ultimate ring shopping experience next weekend, March 21st through 23rd in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
Time to paint the house again? Are you tired of shelling out all that money every 5 years?
Hey, it's Jeff and Roxanne, proud and local owners of Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's exterior coating will last you 25 years, improve your home's curb appeal, and is backed by a 25-year warranty.
So delete your painter from your contact list for good. Get a free estimate at rhinoshieldga.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey folks, it's Eric Erickson here. Well, it's Trump 2.0 now, and things are changing quickly. Every day, changes to taxes, tariffs, foreign policy, moving at a pace we haven't seen in a very long time, definitely not in the last 4 years. What about your retirement plan? Many of you know about the Magnificent Seven stocks like Apple, Amazon, Meta. They've been behind a lot of the market's recent growth. I saw my buddy David Nicholas on Stuart Varney's show the other day. David is my wife's and my financial advisor, and he was talking about what he calls the MAGA 7 stocks and sectors he thinks are going to have the most opportunity in this new Trump administration era. Well, you know, David gave my wife and me a complimentary Morningstar analysis. It's $1,000 value, but right now my listeners can get it complimentary. He's going to give you guys what he gave my wife and me. If you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, call Nicholas Wealth Management. Get this unbelievably valuable analysis for free. David and his team will review it with you, give you some total clarity, and get you ready for your nest egg in this new era. So if you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, please go to nicholaswealth.com. That's NICHOLAS wealth.com, or call 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500 or nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. Eric Erickson is a current client and is paid for this ad.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Found new trouble in Spaghetti Junction. It's a crash on the 285 eastbound ramp to I-85 northbound. Left side of that ramp is blocked, already slowing the ride quickly back into Dunwoody. And we just had trouble clear into DeKalb County, I-20 westbound around Evans Mill Road, exit 74. Eastbound stacked up, leaving 285 out toward Panola Road as crews clear the left lane. Construction just past Wesley Chapel. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today and very warm. High 77. That's about 10 degrees above average for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the low 50s. Mostly cloudy for tomorrow with an isolated rain shower possible. High 72. Friday, mostly cloudy and breezy. High 75.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, remember, if you're in the state of Georgia, text the word ENGAGE to 33777. Tell your senator support HB 225 and kill the speed cameras in the state of Georgia. Legislation is pending in the state Senate. I want to go to the phones now. Let's go to Donna. You're going to be up first today. Welcome to the show, Donna. How are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
Loving the sunshine.
Excellent.
My comment, first, it makes absolute sense that we wouldn't allow China to own land in the U.S. because they won't allow us to own land in China. And, of course, Trump is all about reciprocation. So that makes absolute sense, and they are enemies. I'm wondering if there's been any talk about the Chinese-owned companies that are in the United States right now and operating that way. I haven't heard anybody specifically mention, like, Smithfield Meats and companies of that sort, and whether they pose a threat to us and whether we're going to look into, having them change hands the way that we've had to do with TikTok.
Well, look, that's a great issue. And for those who don't know, Smithfield Meats, which produces much of, if not a majority of the pork in this country, is now owned by a Chinese conglomerate. So there are concerns. The bigger concerns are federal investigations into companies owned by the Chinese that we know are being used as national security threats. So let's take Smithfield, for example. There's no evidence to suggest, for example, the Chinese are doing something nefarious to the pork product, in large part because though the Chinese own it, the land and the pigs are here in the United States, so we're not getting it from China where they can do something we can't see. We've got federal inspectors and the like. There are other companies, however, like, for example, DJI, the drone manufacturer, where there are lots of concerns about the Chinese using a company like DJI and other drone manufacturers from China to be weaponized against us. There are also manufacturers of cameras, facial recognition cameras, 5G cell networks from China that we're pretty confident are being used to relay information back to China. And those companies are being banned by the federal government. In fact, I've mentioned the story before. Most of the ports in this country, if not all of the ports in this country, have been buying cargo cranes from Chinese companies. They are manufactured more cheaply by these Chinese companies, and they're very good at what they do, but it turns out they're also being used for surveillance. So the U.S. government it started with Donald Trump and escalated under Joe Biden. Both administrations, seeing eye to eye on this, have ordered American ports to get rid of these Chinese cranes because they're essentially being used as surveillance. A lot of the cargo containers that come into U.S. ports have what's called an RFID chip on the containers. Now, you know what an RFID chip is, even if you don't know the name. If you've seen Apple Pay in progress or Android Pay, where you can wirelessly pay for your gas or for products, and you touch and tap, and there's a chip in your phone that signals information to the reader that you tap, and that reader can get your credit card information, all that, without ever having to pull out your wallet. Cargo containers increasingly have these sorts of things in them so that you can scan the cargo containers remotely and understand what's in each cargo container without ever having to open them and inspect them. These Chinese cranes have been equipped with RFID readers that are scanning what's coming into U.S. ports and reporting back to China, among other things. And we've had to ban them. So we are, but it's a case-by-case basis. Smithfield doesn't appear to be a threat because it's still U.S. management, U.S. operators, U.S. workers on U.S. land with pigs in the U.S. But then other electronic and technology companies are a bigger threat, and we're having on a case-by-case basis to determine it. Randy, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show. Randy?
Yeah. Hey, Eric. Good afternoon. Glad to talk with you.
Welcome.
My question is regarding what you were talking about with just our enemies buying all this property around the country. At some point, hopefully pass legislation to stop that. But once we do, just use Texas, for instance, they passed a bill, and we want to buy that property back from them. If they don't want to sell it, could we take it through eminent domain?
Yes.
Okay, that's the short answer.
Yeah, they're going to force these Chinese companies and individuals to divest the land, and if there's not a buyer for the land, the states are going to use eminent domain and they're going to buy it from them. They don't want them to own that land, and they shouldn't. The Chinese they're buying land near military installations and setting up surveillance equipment on our military. They're buying farmland, productive farmland, and taking it out of production to reduce the food supply. And they're also buying land along the border that the drug cartels cross and making it easier for the drug cartels to get into the country. Texas needs to shut them down. It's good legislation. Now, I want to talk about something else. Let me find this tweet for you because this is what provoked the thinking, and I didn't necessarily need to read the tweet, so I didn't bookmark it. But then I thought, you know what? I should, because it really, let's just say it didn't sit well with the individual. So, guy I know is a lawyer, and he really, really, really doesn't like Donald Trump. And he tweeted last night, "Every time I think about how one moron has made Canada, our enemy, I have to remind myself that tens of millions of Americans chose to vote for the moron. You didn't know he'd do this exactly, but you knew he'd do stupid, we'll say, stuff. And yet you voted for him anyway. Nice job." Notice how people who hate Donald Trump are starting to turn on the people who voted for him, and in fact, he got the popular vote. More Americans voted for Donald Trump than voted for Kamala Harris. And I pointed that out last night, and another angry anti-Trump person replied, "Everything you just listed represents Republicans too, blankety blank. What Dems didn't do was trot out a felon, sexual abuser that tried to steal an election. And all the effing words you use and excuses you make about the Dems won't change that. You had other GOP options." And this gets to my point. The Republicans nominated for president of the United States a convicted felon who was found guilty of inappropriate behavior towards a woman, in addition to a felony related to his business and paying money to a porn star, and who encouraged people to go to the U.S. Capitol, which the Democrats claim was an insurrection. It was just a riot. The Democrats lost to that guy. The Democrats lost to a convicted felon who the Democrats believe sexually assaulted a woman, who they believe tried to launch a coup against the United States, who they believe is a threat to democracy, who they believe is a low-grade moron. They lost to this guy. And the response from these people is, you awful idiot Republicans, how dare you nominate this guy? You stupid, stupid voters, how dare you vote for this man? I got to tell you, I see this, and my reaction is actually, Democrats, are you going to hold anybody accountable on your side? You covered for a dementia patient and a dim-witted word salad. Kamala Harris was a walking dim-witted word salad. You replaced Joe Biden with her. You're blaming the voters for voting for Donald Trump. Your alternative was so bad, the voters voted for a convicted felon. Does this not actually register with Democrats that the American people gave the popular vote to a convicted felon who you believe launched a coup against the United States because the alternative was so bad? But you people hate Donald Trump so much you can't even recognize that the American people hated the alternative even worse. And you don't want to hold the alternative accountable. You don't want to say to the Democrats, my God, you people covered up a dementia patient and put a dim-witted word salad on the stage. Of course you were going to lose. It's never about accountability for the Democrats. It's always the voters are stupid, Donald Trump is bad. Well, bad Donald Trump and the stupid voters kicked your butt across America. Why? Because you had a dementia patient in charge and you did nothing to hold him accountable. You did nothing to push Joe Biden out. You did nothing to find a better candidate than Kamala Harris. You did nothing but circle the wagons. You and your friends in the National Press Corps circled the wagons around these people, did everything you could to protect them, did everything you could to lie about the American economy and claim it was better than it was. You censored people. You vilified people as racist. You shut people up you disagreed with. You wouldn't publish their op-eds. You wouldn't put them on television. You tried to kick them off radio and TV. You went after their advertisers. You tried to get corporations to stop advertising. You did everything possible to censor, silence, and bully anyone who disagreed with you instead of cleaning up your own damn house. You're absolutely right. Donald Trump's a convicted felon. Donald Trump has a mugshot. Donald Trump is multiply criminally indicted, or was, across the nation. And he kicked your butt. And instead of you trying to figure out how could voters choose this guy over us, what did we do wrong? You're like, oh, you stupid voters. It's a sign you're going to keep losing to Donald Trump. If you're not willing to hold the Democratic consultants accountable for covering up for Joe Biden, if you're not willing to hold MSNBC accountable for being the Joe Biden choir, if you're not willing to hold Democratic members of Congress accountable for refusing to acknowledge the decline of Joe Biden publicly, if you're not willing to hold Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama accountable for short-circuiting a mini Democratic primary instead of coordinating Kamala Harris, if you're not willing to hold the Democrats accountable, you can whine all you want about Donald Trump, and he's going to continue to kick your butt across the nation because you can't blame the voters. And when you blame the voters for voting in their interest against yours, you're unwilling to acknowledge that you people did something profoundly stupid. You put up a dementia patient for President of the United States. You covered for him. You attacked anyone who pointed out there was something wrong with him. You went after a special prosecutor who pointed out he wasn't competent to stand trial. And then when it was exposed for everyone on national television and you couldn't run from it, you replaced him with a walking word salad. Just a year ago, you people were in the newspaper saying it was too stupid to ever run for president of the United States. And then you claimed she was some sort of Mensa-level genius, and you partnered her with some weirdo from Minnesota who had the most awkwardly weird relationship with his wife ever seen on a public political stage. And you wonder why the public voted for Donald Trump? You blame the public for voting for Donald Trump? You're going to keep getting your butt kicked across the nation by Republicans because you're too arrogant to understand that you are to blame for what happened. You wrecked the economy and refused to acknowledge it and refused to do anything about it. You put up these terrible candidates. Donald Trump beat them. Trump beat them. And instead of holding the Democrats accountable, you've decided to attack the American voter. That's not the way to win an election. And I'll take it. Keep doing it, please. Now, let me tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can clear the air in your home, wipe out odors with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them for less than $200 and save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. You get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms, and you wipe out odors. You get rid of dust, pollen, pet dander. You get rid of bacteria and viruses, 99.9% of them that pass through the device because it generates plasma and wipes them out. And then it generates ozone. And as it generates ozone, the ozone touches the odor particles, the odor ions, and wipes them out. You get 3 of them. You save $200. You get them for less than $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3. So go to EdenPureDeals.com. You'll see the discount code box on the front page. You put in ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. Get 3 of them, save $200, clean the air in your house.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Looks like that left lane crash on the 285 eastbound inner loop ramp to I-85 northbound into DeKalb County has cleared. Still slow, though, from Chamblee-Dunwoody Road. Hopefully that will improve. Also been dealing with a crash on Highway 141. That's going to be Peachtree Boulevard right around Ashford-Dunwoody Road, just north of there, causing some delays in both directions. And slow in DeKalb, 20 eastbound from 285 out toward Panola Road, where they're clearing construction from the left lane. Traffic brought to you by Lear Capital. Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA guide at BetterNestEggs.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Everyone has an opinion.
Your baby is ugly.
Eric Von Haessler has an opinion.
I abhor violence, unless it's on the football field where it belongs.
And some advice.
A meme coin, of course, something I don't really understand. Don't ever buy one. There you go. I just gave you some great advice.
Eric Von Haessler, today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Your deck is more than just a place to flip a burger or have a cup of coffee. It gathers your friends and family on all your favorite occasions and is there to enjoy every day. Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors, and we build beautiful, high-quality decks at a reasonable price. We're licensed and insured, provide exceptional customer service, design help, and we'll work with the materials you want. Strength, durability, beauty. Decks done differently. Built by Nelson Exteriors. Get your free estimate. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Hey folks, it's Eric Erickson here. Well, it's Trump 2.0 now, and things are changing quickly. Every day, changes to taxes, tariffs, foreign policy, moving at a pace we haven't seen in a very long time, definitely not in the last 4 years. What about your retirement plan? Many of you know about the Magnificent Seven stocks like Apple, Amazon, Meta. They've been behind a lot of the market's recent growth. I saw my buddy David Nicholas on Stuart Varney show the other day. David is my wife's and my financial advisor, and he was talking about what he calls the MAGA 7 stocks and sectors he thinks are going to have the most opportunity in this new Trump administration era. Well, you know, David gave my wife and me a complimentary Morningstar analysis. It's $1,000 value, but right now my listeners can get it complimentary. He's going to give you guys what he gave my wife and me. If you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, call Nicholas Wealth Management. Get this unbelievably valuable analysis for free. David and his team will review it with you, give you some total clarity, and get you ready for your nest egg in this new era. So if you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, please go to nicholaswealth.com. That's NICHOLAS wealth.com. or call 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500 or nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. Eric Erickson is a current client and is paid for this ad.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Breda knows how critical it is to protect the inside of your home, not just the outside, against bugs and critters. Termites are the most destructive pests of all. They literally eat your house. Dave Baker here for Breda Pest Management. I bet your termite company just walks around outside, checking random bait stations and telling you you're termite free. But are you? How can they claim that when they haven't even inspected inside? Only Breda protects your home from termites with a complete liquid barrier system, not just bait stations. And only Breda's early detection process will thoroughly inspect your entire home with advanced infrared cameras. Breda is so confident they guarantee your protection and will lock in your termite rate for 10 years. Breda Pest Management, they handle bugs and critters like termites. Get started at BREDAPest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
In the know.
Hi there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, if you text the word Eric to 33777, you can click that top link and get the show notes. It comes to your inbox as the show starts with links to everything. You can also text data to 33777. Get that standalone link. Chip Roy, who is a stalwart against growing government, was on CNN talking about the continuing resolution and the path forward.
I'm not a huge fan of CRs, but I've never ruled them out either. This kind of differentiates me from both ends of the political spectrum in my conference. Where they're strategically beneficial, I'm for them. I never found them that strategically beneficial under the Biden regime because I didn't agree with what Joe Biden was doing. But here, I generally agree with what President Trump is doing. Freeze spending, freeze it at roughly 2024 levels. In fact, it's a $7 billion reduction. Get rid of earmarks. Make sure the defense spending doesn't get bloated up to be used to gross up the entire expenditure, and then keep the lights on to allow DOGE to do what they're doing, Russ and OMB to do what they're doing, and then let's focus on FY26 because the clock is running out. We only have 6 months left to deal with FY26, so I think we're in a good spot to do it.
Listen, he's one of the most consistently principled members of the United States Congress, and he's willing to do this, but if you listen to him, what he's saying and what he's warning the Republicans is you're going to need to provide some real cuts. And the Senate Republicans are struggling to get on board any cuts they actually want to do that actually limit the size and scope of the federal government. It's time to wind down the size and scope of the federal government. It's good for our economy if he actually does that. Donald Trump does, and having DOGE make those cuts. So I hope they listen to Chip Roy, and I hope they actually do wind down the size and scope of the federal government. It's time to make those cuts. I want to talk about a sensitive subject when we come back. And I want to give you advance notice. I want to prepare you for what's coming. Some of you are going to feel a little awkward by it, but there is a wild, wild trend happening right now in the country. It is the spread of disease. And a lot of that disease is coming from illegal aliens who came into the country harboring diseases and started in migrant communities, and it's spreading. And it is affecting a lot of church families, because the parents in these communities have become deeply skeptical of modern science. And to a degree, the experts are to blame because of all the lies they told about COVID. But also, there are a whole lot of people in the United States who are being turned off by modern medicine in favor of wild and fringe theories. They're being catechized by an algorithm that actually doesn't serve their interests. and they're not getting their kids vaccinated. They themselves are turning down known successful medical treatments. And we're entering a world that is going to be deeply diseased with a lot of death, because in particular, church families are the ones who've given up on the truth of the modern world.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we're committed to saving our members money by offering the most competitive interest rates in the market. Now, auto loan rates are as low as 4.49 APR. But if you open an account with a direct deposit, we'll knock your rate down a whole %, as low as 3.49 APR. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Save money on your auto loan and experience kinder banking at a branch near you.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal opportunity lender.
Has that paint on your house reached the point of surrender? You really can't put it off another year, right?
It's Jeff and Roxanne, local owners of Rhino Shield. Let Rhino Shield help you with a solution that'll make this the last time you paint.
Rhino Shield ceramic coating will last you 25 years, improve your home's curb appeal, and comes with a 25-year warranty.
Get a free estimate at RhinoShieldGA.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. It is a WSB Money Update. Inflation and tariffs impacting your bottom line. President Trump today promising reciprocal tariffs will go into effect April 2nd.
We have been abused really for a long time, and we will be abused no longer.
A new report shows overall inflation up slightly in February. Rent and the price of cars are down. Groceries are unchanged, but eggs jump more than 10%. Bloomberg's Dan Schwartzman reports tariffs could also impact inflation down the road.
Prices continue to rise, but at a slower pace. The Consumer Price Index for February showed prices increased by 0.2%. That's the slowest pace in 4 months. Drops in airfare, new car prices, and gas prices help fuel the slowdown. The good news, though, may be short-lived, as economists anticipate that escalating trade wars will drive up prices on a variety of goods, from food to clothing, in the coming months.
On Wall Street this hour, the Dow is down 76 points. The NASDAQ and S&P are both higher. And while in Atlanta today, U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says she understands Georgia farmers are struggling with everything from storm damage to tariffs.
And I think the pecan farmers, I think the peanut farmers, I think the blueberry farmers, I think that's true across almost every lane of our agriculture industry.
Rollins did not make any specific commitments on possible relief for farmers dealing with the impact of new tariffs. The department recently announced plans to cut a $1 billion program for schools to buy produce from local farmers. It is 75 degrees in Atlanta. Clouds and rain chances return tomorrow. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. A Walton County man accused of killing his ex-girlfriend is now under arrest. The Newton County Sheriff's Office found the body of 54-year-old Colette Cease in a lake in Covington earlier this month. At the time, they determined her cause of death was a homicide. Her ex-boyfriend, 53-year-old Travis Abbott, was arrested at a home in Loganville this week. He now faces charges of murder and concealing a death. New information on the disappearance of a University of Pittsburgh student during a spring break trip in the Dominican Republic. Surveillance video shows the 20-year-old woman with friends walking toward the beach at a resort nearly a week ago, and police now say the man she was last seen with is considered a person of interest. A total lunar eclipse will be visible early tomorrow morning. Friday morning. The blood moon will make the moon appear red. It starts late Thursday night and peaks just before 3 a.m. Friday. Clouds, though, could obstruct the view in North Georgia. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Bread Beckers.
Do you think you need to renovate your kitchen, but you're worried about the costs? Well, Frugal Kitchens can help you get $1 million looking kitchen for a fraction of the cost and 18 months no interest financing available. The best part, they can get you back up and cooking in 5 days from the start of construction. Life happens in your kitchen. That's where you build so many memories. If you're like Christy and me, that's why we use Frugal Kitchens, and you can too. FrugalKitchens.com is the website. Go check them out. Don't forget 18 months, no interest financing available. FrugalKitchens.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We've lowered prices. You can save 15% or more on hundreds of items like Thomas Mini Bagels, Campbell's SpaghettiOs, and more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, Belinda here, and I have Barry Petrie, Director of Virtual Imaging. Barry has a very interesting testimonial to share with our listeners. Barry, tell us your story.
Well, Belinda, exactly a year ago when I took over my role, one of the first things I did was scan. And at the time, I was 54 years old, never had any issues, was in a good shape, worked out every day. And I was shocked to find out that I had a score of over 1,000 on my calcium. So, and most of that 1,000 was concentrated in my LAD, which you know is the Widowmaker.
Not good.
So immediately started working with an interventional cardiologist, started working with a functional medicine specialist to try to correct that. And unfortunately, about 4 months ago, I started having symptoms and rescanned. And at this point, my calcium score had gone from 1,000 over 1,500, and that LAD score had gone up to over 1,000. So long story short, ended up going to Northside, getting a stent put into my LAD. And now today I feel great. I regained the gear that I didn't know that I had lost. And had I not taken this role as director of virtual imaging a year ago, I probably would have not known this. And I could have been one of those folks that looks perfectly healthy and drops dead.
Absolutely. Folks, that story hits home. What are you waiting for? Go to Virtual Imaging and get a complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or visit virtualimagingatl.com. It could save your life.
It is 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Brand new crash heading into downtown, Bill. I-20 westbound at Hill Street. That is right before the downtown connector. It's in the left lane and part of the second left lane, so delays growing back through East Atlanta. Getting better into DeKalb County on 20 eastbound, leaving 285 out toward Panola Road. They cleared up left lane construction before Panola Road. And we had an earlier crash on the 285 eastbound interloop ramp to I-85 northbound into DeKalb. That's gone. Just the afternoon volume starting to fill in between Dunwoody and Dorville. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today and very warm. High 77. That's about 10 degrees above average for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the low 50s. Mostly cloudy for tomorrow with an isolated rain shower possible. High 72. Friday, mostly cloudy and breezy. High 75.
73 now in Ackworth, 76 in Conyers, 75 in East Point. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here, coast to coast. The phone number, 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, if you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, one of the links that you'll get back is to the website, ericerickson.com. You can see the show map. We are expanding now up to about 70 stations coast to coast. Some stations that were either running us on the weekend or in delay. Starting running us live now. Palm Beach in South Florida, Lafayette, Louisiana. We're now in Spokane and in Kennewick, Washington, Watertown, New York. We are around the country and growing, and I'm delighted to have every single one of you here. Really am. And if you're new to the program, text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, because you can get the live stream, you can get the podcast, you can get the website, you get the show notes email, and then you can get my social media links for Twitter, Instagram. Like, you should follow me around Instagram. I'm going to be in the mountains playing golf this weekend if it doesn't storm and there's no tornadoes. Taking Friday off just to decompress after a very wild and intense couple of months. I want to talk about a subject that is an awkward subject to talk about. I've been meaning to talk about it for a while, and then I had a conversation earlier with a buddy of mine. He's like, yeah, probably ought to say something about this. You know, the joke in evangelical households now is about essential oils, that all the women are into essential oils. My wife gets essential oils from doTERRA. She does not believe they magically cure things, but she appreciates the scents. And, you know, for example, they have something called a breathe oil that the kids and I use in humidifiers when we're sick and congested and during allergy season in particular. And it does work, but they're not some miracle. But I got to tell you, I have been approached by more than one woman from an evangelical household who has informed me that if my wife will use certain essential oils, it will cure her cancer. Now, if you're new to the program, you need to know my wife has stage 4 lung cancer. And it is an incurable form of lung cancer. It's genetic. If my wife were to go get a lung transplant tomorrow, because the tumors are all in her lungs, they're nowhere else, they haven't spread in her body, they're just in her lungs. If she were to get a lung transplant tomorrow, as her cells began to replace and regenerate the cells of those of the original lungs, her lungs would begin to metastasize these tumors like she has. It's genetic. She's never smoked a day in her life. And yet, without knowing this, I've been assured by more than one person that they have the cure for my wife's cancer, and it most often involves either drinking hydrogen peroxide or essential oils. And I know people mean well. And I don't think it's a coincidence. And y'all, ladies in particular, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm really not. But I don't think it's a coincidence that most of the people who raise the subject actually do tend to be women. And they all tend to be within deeply Christian households. And they've given up on modern science. Now, I have a problem with this. Because increasingly I'm encountering people who've decided, I'm not going to vaccinate my kids. Now, I know people who are hesitant for the MMR because the fetal tissue research back in the 1970s, that essentially it was an aborted child whose fetal tissue was used to propagate the original MMR vaccine. And I just view that as what someone meant for evil, God meant for good. Think of the massive number of lives that have been saved from the MMR. Robert Kennedy has been advanced to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services. He was on with Sean Hannity the other day, and he said that like older people tend to need a booster, that the MMR doesn't keep them immune. Actually, according to the data, overwhelmingly, once you're vaccinated as a kid for measles, you have lifetime immunity. Only in rare circumstances does someone lose that measles immunity. It's possible for mumps, but almost impossible, unheard of, for someone to lose measles immunity. He's just simply wrong about this. There are doctors in America today who will tell you with a straight face that transgenderism is an immutable characteristic, that someone is born transgender. And it is a medical doctor who will tell you this, often a medical doctor who gets a lot of money for performing gender reassignment surgeries and giving quote-unquote gender-affirming care. And they're quacks. But there are also doctors out there who will tell you that the MMR vaccine and the battery of vaccines kids get cause autism. Robert Kennedy is ordering yet another research project into autism. You know, it's been studied many times in the past. But people want to believe what they want to believe. Take seed oils, for example. There are a lot of people out there, many of my listeners included, who have decided that seed oils are far worse than, for example, beef tallow. Actually, there's a whole bunch of research that says that's not true. Seed oils are actually better than trans fats, better than animal fats, things like that. And yet they don't believe it. They refuse to believe the data. The data is rigged. The data is cooked against them. People just want to believe what they want to believe. I have a problem with all of this for a very simple reason, and it's from my faith. I believe that the Bible's real. I really do believe, I believe the whole Adam and Eve thing, Noah's Ark, I actually do believe it. I'm sorry if that turned you off and you suddenly think I'm a dumb person. I believe it's true. And I believe in the resurrection of Jesus, and he said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And it's that truth part that matters. Because if he's the truth, there is an objective truth. There is a ascertainable way to define what is true and what is real. And a lot of people are getting shaped by their algorithms on social media into believing things that are not true, and you can't dissuade them from it. They genuinely believe that it's true, and they will not be deterred from believing that it is true. Let me see if I can find this video yesterday. Mr. Kobe, am I being run in delay by chance? Good, because I want to play this audio, and I'm like 99% sure that it doesn't have a bad word in it. But I saw it yesterday, and now I want to play it. This is a guy, and he's a liberal, and he is confronting a college student about the government. Let me play you this audio. This is just about the government. Sam Seder is a progressive, and he is engaging with a college student about the government and the size and scope of the government. And I want you to listen to this conversation.
I'm talking about Trump's rescission of these orders
If you received a
on
tax
these
cut
agencies.
as an employer, wouldn't you hire a person of color?
Dude,
if you could pay them less?
Listen, we're talking about government agencies that do not get tax cuts. They don't. Government agencies.
They don't.
No,
Yes, they do. They absolutely do.
I'm talking about
every
parts of-
private and public sector gets tax cuts when you hire a person of color.
Government agencies don't pay taxes. Government agencies operate on, are funded by the government.
That is not true. That is not true.
Now, you all know that that young man is an idiot. You do. You all recognize this. He's confused the public sector and the private sector, the public sector, and he believes he's actually confusing publicly held companies. Publicly held companies aren't actually government controlled, and he doesn't understand that. And he's arguing that a government agency pays taxes and gets tax benefits for hiring non-white people. A government agency is part of the government. The government doesn't pay taxes to itself. And yet this kid doesn't know it. This kid insists that it's true. There are people today, because of their algorithms and their feeds, who have begun to believe things that simply are not true. And you can't dissuade them from the fact. Here's the fact. The polio vaccine has saved so many people from polio. We don't see polio as a thing anymore. And yet there's increasing numbers of people who think, well, polio is not a thing. I don't have to give my kid this vaccine. Wait until your kid gets polio and you will have that regret hang over your life for the rest of your life. Or if your kid gets the measles and winds up getting scarred, or in the case of this kid in Texas, dying. The MMR vaccine has saved countless lives and saved a whole lot of kids from disfigurement. And yet, suddenly, because someone saw something on the internet, they know best. Now, part of the problem we need to acknowledge is that the arrogance of government bureaucrats and healthcare experts has caused part of this. They equated the COVID vaccine with other vaccines. They used the word vaccine for the COVID vaccine, and it didn't stop people from getting COVID. It didn't actually operate as a vaccine. And people have used that to undermine the whole case of vaccines. Robert F. Kennedy has been a major conspiracy theorist about vaccines for years. Because of the mass illegal immigration into this country over the last number of years, tuberculosis is on the rise in this country. Measles are on the rise in this country. Other infectious diseases that are easily preventable with vaccines are on the rise in this country. And yet people, particularly in Christian communities, have decided that they are turning against modern medicine, that they know better. By faith or by alternative medicines, they're going to save themselves and they're going to save their kids. And a lot of people are going to die because of it. A lot of people are going to be disfigured because of it. I'm not even sure what the solution is at this point, other than I think a lot of pastors probably need to get involved in this. with their congregations, because there are a whole lot of people who have decided that they're smarter than their doctors. And they're smarter than prevailing conventional wisdom. And I guess where I draw the line on this is, let's take the COVID vaccine, which is 3 years old, and let's compare it to the MMR, which is 50 years old, or the polio vaccine, where we have a long history of this, saving lives. Now, I'm going to dive into something here at the very end of this monologue that's going to kind of disturb some of you. You know, there seems to be a rise in brain cancer. People are trying to blame it on cell phones, the iPhone, Bluetooth. I know more and more women who have had brain tumors. David Pollack from ESPN, formerly of ESPN, he announced his wife has a brain tumor. We have a dear friend who's battling one. I know many more people who diseases seem to be on the rise. Cancer seem to be on the rise. You know, maybe I shouldn't go there, but you know, there's a theological answer to some of this. Sin in the world produces disease. So we're further and further away from the garden and closer to the end times. We're going to see a rise in it. And part of what happens theologically, but also we see it in our daily life, is as we run down the clock on society, fewer and fewer people actually believe the truth. And it's not just people outside the church, the pagans as the Christian would call them, but people inside the church as well. They no longer believe the truth. They go and get their ears tickled. The Bible warns repeatedly in the New Testament about people leaving the faith and getting their ears tickled. But it's not just the faith where people leave to get their ears tickled. It's leaving science, leaving sound medicine, leaving sound judgment. They go online and find people who tell them what they want to hear, who provide an order in the chaos, who string the lines together and provide them the comprehensive theory of everything that makes sense to them. And they feed off those people who delude them and abuse them, but they believe they found truth. So many people are out there and they believe they found truth, and that truth is actually a repackaged lie. Friends, we know what works in this country. We know free market economics elevate more people out of poverty than protectionism. We know vaccines prevent kids from getting terrible diseases that kill them. We know modern medicine isn't perfect, but we know it's better than the shamans and the essential oils. And we know that God gave us modern medicine to work. And we know that a lot of the people who tell you emphatically that prayer will save you will never walk through St. Jude's Hospital praying over the children to end their cancer. The truth is ascertainable, but I want all of you to wonder about how many people are leaving the real truth, the tried and the true, the stuff we know that works, because their ears have been tickled by an algorithm that's leading them astray, to their detriment and the detriment of their families. It is a real problem that we need to figure out how to address.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Had a crash heading into downtown I-20 westbound at Hill Street, exit number 58. Looks like they cleared the crash out of travel lanes, but still might be some debris in the roadway. You're slow back to Moreland Avenue. Traveling southbound through downtown, it's all stacked up from the 85-400 merge already down to I-20. And delays filling in on I-85 northbound out at DeKalb and Gwinnett. Just sluggish, though, from 285 up past Jimmy Carter Boulevard. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Find quality produce at Whole Foods Market. Save on avocados from Mexico. Haas avocados through March 18th while supplies last. You can shop in-store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Get the WSB radio app.
This story is breaking right now.
Get notifications from your source for news.
If you have the WSB radio app, then you saw the breaking news.
Get the WSB radio app.
Don't miss a thing with the WSB app.
Download it from the App Store today.
Don't ignore any cracked bricks or concrete, floor or wall gaps, or bowed walls. You could be ignoring underlying foundation problems, and that will hurt the value of your home. Foundation problems? Visit AquaGuard.net today and book your free inspection. AquaGuard.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head-scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into.
They think they know what equities they have. They think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Is painting the house on your project list? Make this the last time you paint with Rhino Shield, backed by a 25-year warranty.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you've been taught that all bread is unhealthy, I'm here to tell you not if it's real bread. Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you're struggling with weight gain, high cholesterol, constipation, even warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, come visit us at the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, where we have taught thousands of customers that real bread might be their healthy solution. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of real whole grains and bread. I discovered that store-bought bread has had most of the nutrients in the grain removed during milling, and yes, even packages labeled 100% whole wheat. Make a healthy eating change in your life at Bread Beckers in Woodstock. We'll show you how bread, but only real bread, might be the answer to your family's physical ills. The Bread Beckers. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
When it rains, it pours right into your crawl space, and that creates that musty smell and dangerous mold growth under your house. Meteorologist Christina Edwards here for American Crawl Space Solutions. Make the smell and the water go away and stop the water from coming back. Call American Crawl Space Solutions. They're experts at keeping your crawl space dry and preventing the mold from growing in your home. Give them a call today.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Giving you the truth, not the talking points. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Hello, America. Welcome. For those of you in Georgia, you have an action item, and that is to text the word engage to 33777. The Georgia Senate is right now considering the legislation that would kill the speed cameras, and if you text the word engage to 33777, you'll get a link. You click that link, put in your information, including your cell phone number. Your cell phone's going to ring, and I'm going to automatically connect you to your state senator to tell them to support the legislation that would kill the speed cameras. The sheriff of Butts County, Georgia, this morning has come out and urged people to get rid of the speed cameras, saying that they're actually operating unconstitutionally behind the legislature's back, and most people don't know it, so they're paying the fines. It's actually a big deal. These corporations are doing this around the country. They've got them down in Florida. They've got them in Washington, D.C. and Virginia now. These companies are essentially finding Republicans in areas where there may be lax law enforcement to say they will outsource the law enforcement aspects to cameras. But you have a right under the Constitution to question a witness against you. And the way they're designing these cameras, whether they're in Florida or Georgia, whether they're in Tennessee or elsewhere, they are designed so that there is no witness against you. A machine is not a witness. A machine does not see anything. A machine records actions that other people see, and there are no witnesses. And it's a due process violation, and yet they're gambling on the fact you don't know this in order to fine you. In many cases, they're leaving these cameras on in states where they're not supposed to be on during weekends when schools aren't in session or after hours. And you don't know you can fight it, and they're making millions and millions of dollars. These companies are getting rich. Take a stand. Text ENGAGE to 33777. Now, also go to ericforhillsdale.com and take a class from Hillsdale College. They've got 40 great classes to choose from. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com and you sign up, you never have to pay a penny, and you resolve to learn something new. The classes are incredible. They've got a great one on the Constitution. They've got some of the best professors at Hillsdale College. They have one, for example, on the history of ancient Christianity or the Great American Story. They've got one on Athens and Sparta, one on Winston Churchill and statesmanship. They have classes on philosophy and religion, on literature, politics, economics, fine arts, mathematics, natural sciences. The classes, there are different links, they're video series. You do it at your own pace. You learn something new. You never pay a penny. ericforhillsdale.com. Take the one on the great principles of Christianity. That was a fun one. ericforhillsdale.com. Sign up with them today and start expanding your mind.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. President Trump says we will be abused no longer. Speaking alongside the leader of Ireland, the president is asked about responding to EU tariffs.
The EU was set up in order to take advantage of the United States.
Including Ireland? Is Ireland taking advantage of the U.S.?
Of course they are. I can't, I have great respect for Ireland and what they did. And they should have done just what they did. But the United States shouldn't have let it happen. We had stupid leaders.
The president says the U.S. will do reciprocal tariffs starting April 2nd. New numbers on inflation today.
Prices rose more slowly last month than expected. Prices up 2.8% from a year ago. They're still going up, but they're improving.
Reporter Rebecca Jarvis says tariffs on China are starting to impact prices on clothing and household furnishings. On Wall Street this hour, all the major indices are higher, including the NASDAQ up more than 1 1/3%. Two astronauts stuck on board the International Space Station since June are set to make a trip home this week. A NASA SpaceX mission is scheduled to launch from Kennedy Space Center this evening. It's carrying a 4-member team to the ISS, where they will relieve Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who have been on the station since their Boeing Starliner spacecraft suffered issues and was deemed unsafe for them to return to Earth in. A new study finds youth soccer leagues that have banned or limited headers have seen a 36% reduction in concussions. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic call it encouraging. In 2016, the U.S. Soccer Federation banned headers for players younger than 10 and limited the time players 11 to 13 could practice headers to a half hour per week. It is now 2:32, and this news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
Wet spots or water streaks on your ceiling, drywall, or chimney? Your roof is leaking. Home Fix It host Dave Baker. Get a free roof analysis from my trusted experts, Finley Roofing. The roof guys. No obligation, no charge. FinleyRoofing.com. Roof.
City of Hope. A place where seemingly impossible blood cancers become treatable, curable. With more than 19,000 bone marrow transplants performed, we're the largest and most successful program in the U.S., making major breakthroughs in treating leukemia, lymphoma, and rare blood cancers, personalizing a treatment plan right down to your DNA. Now the experts striving to make the impossible a reality are closer to home. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
Got a leaky pipe? Trouble with your AC? Ace Hardware Home Services is right around the corner with trusted pros to fix it. From plumbing to heating and cooling, we'll keep your home running smoothly all year long. Get help today at acehardwarehomeservices.com.
The word Del Bar in Farsi means beloved, and that's what Del Bar Middle Eastern Restaurant is all about. Serving Mediterranean dishes from wood-fired grilled meats, seafood, and chicken to their iconic basmati rice. Del Bar is an unforgettable experience.
I'm Faris Kargar, and I'm the owner of Del Bar Restaurants, and I personally invite you guys to come in and experience our Persian hospitality to capture your heart and enjoy a memorable experience.
See what the buzz is all about. Visit one of their 3 Michelin Guide recommended Del Bar restaurants. Google Del Bar Atlanta today.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months. And ask how to get free installation on qualifying bundles. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
234, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Still got this crash. They're working. It's been moved all to the right on I-20 westbound at Hill Street right before the downtown connector, but I think cars are still dodging debris in the center lanes. That's why you're slow back to Moreland Avenue. Checking on possible new trouble, 85 southbound heading into Midtown before or right at 17th Street, slowing you from 400. And a crash, Covington Highway eastbound at Wesley Chapel leaves only a left lane open. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunshine and very warm today. High 77.
76 in Duluth, 75 in Dallas, 73 in Fairburn. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Erick Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, text the word DATA, D-A-T-A, to 33777. Subscribe to the show notes. Love to have you with me. This is happening now. The progressives in the House furious with Senate Democrats over their funding.
They should refuse to allow this bill to pass in the Senate.
If they don't,
I think there's going to be huge backlash from across the country, and I think all of them will have to deal with the consequences of that.
The Republicans have the White House, the Senate, and the House. If they want to do this, and if they want to screw over the American people, they can do this with their votes and their party. I do not believe that Democrats should participate.
but some Democrats may very well participate. Well, some of them are more concerned about a potential long-term government shutdown, which is why they may supply the votes at the end of the day. And the timing is critical, Wolf. 11:59 p.m. Friday night is the deadline for the Congress to pass a bill to avert a government shutdown. Today, this afternoon, Senate Democrats will huddle over lunch with Chuck Schumer, the minority leader, to decide how to proceed here. We'll see if they have a decision after that critical meeting.
Yeah, it's a critical decision for the Democrats to make.
That's Manu Raju and Wolf Blitzer. Y'all, the Democrats are headed off a cliff either way. They either help the Republicans fund deportations and DOGE by keeping the government open, and risk a backlash from the progressive left, or they shut the government down and put Russ Vought in charge of presiding over shutdown. The Office of Management and Budget calls the shots when the government is shut down. It is a beauty to behold. By the way, Audrey Fahlberg at National Review is reporting something new. In coordination with other agencies, Lee Zeldin of the EPA is going to reconsider Obama-era endangerment finding rules. It's a massive day for climate deregulation. Now, what is this? Let me read you this from Audrey at National Review. Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin, in coordination with several other agencies, will announce Wednesday he's overhauling the endangerment finding. That's a 2009 rule signed by Barack Obama's EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson that declared greenhouse gases constitute a threat to public health and human welfare under the Clean Air Act. National Review has exclusively learned the agency's reconsideration of the Obama-era finding will involve a massive overhaul of regulations that fall under this rule, including vehicle emission rules. The major deregulatory move comes after President Trump signed an Unleash an American Energy executive order recommending reconsideration of the rule, along with a suite of other executive actions to withdraw from the Paris Climate Accords and end subsidies for electric vehicles. Zeldin's decision to upend the endangerment finding will also involve a wide-ranging reconsideration of dozens of climate-related rules, which the administrator will announce throughout the day. In a statement shared with National Review, Zeldin describes the move as geared toward ridding the agency of burdensome rules and regulations that have upped the cost of energy on American households. Lee Zeldin is turning out to be one of the most brilliant picks by the Trump administration. We just wonderful news. Now, here's your laugh of the day. I didn't believe this story was true at first. I had to find a source because I saw it online, and you never know if what you see online these days is true. This story sounds like it could not possibly be true. My source to confirm the story is true is the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. A new 4-lane highway cutting through tens of thousands of acres of protected Amazon rainforest is being built. The aim is to ease traffic to the city. Why? Because 50,000 people will be showing up in Belém, Brazil in November for the COP30 Climate Change Summit. That's right. The state government is touting the highway's sustainable credentials, but locals and conservationists are outraged at the environmental impact. The road is being built through a lush rainforest, which towers on either side. Diggers and machines are carving the forest floor, paving over wetlands to surface the road, even though it's a protected area. That's right. 50,000 people will descend on Belém in Brazil for the United Nations Climate Change Summit in November. And so the Brazilian government has decided to bulldoze a protected rainforest and wetlands to expand a road to get to the city to do the climate change conference. You can't make that up, friends. You can't make that up. The environmentalists, it's a cult. It's like the environmentalists burning up the Teslas and attacking the Tesla dealerships. They don't like that Elon Musk is helping Donald Trump, and so what have they decided to do? Vandalize battery-powered vehicles. They don't like his battery-powered vehicles anymore. What do they want? Do they want battery-powered vehicles or fossil fuel-burning vehicles? You would think that they would still want people to drive Teslas. It really is a virtue signal for these people. I know a guy, I listened to his podcast. He's a very well-known technology guy. He's designed a lot of software. He's made lots and lots of money. For years, he has bragged about how awesome his Tesla is. He's gotten rid of it because of Elon Musk. Because of Elon Musk, he's decided he had to get rid of his Tesla. Because he can no longer virtue signal that he cares about the environment when he's driving in a car that is allegedly good for the environment, but is the car designed by the man helping Donald Trump. It's wild to me. What's her name? The singer, Sheryl Crow. Sheryl Crow got rid of her Tesla because Elon Musk is helping Donald Trump. Tesla shares, by the way, aren't doing fantastic. It's just wild to me that they don't really, they claim they care about the environment, but it's virtue signaling. The message is they care, and it's not just the message that they care, it's the message that they're superior to you and me. And in their superiority, they're willing to bulldoze a rainforest to build a highway, to get to a city, to have a conference on the climate where they can lecture us further. Now, I want to play you some audio. This is from Marco Rubio. He's talking about the Hamas agitators on college campuses who are being deported.
When you come to the United States as a visitor, which is what a visa is, which is how this individual entered this country, as on a visitor's visa, okay, you are here as a visitor. We can deny you that visa. We can deny you that if you tell us when you apply, hi, I'm trying to get into the United States on a student visa. I am a big supporter of Hamas, a murderous, barbaric group that kidnaps children, that rapes teenage girls, that takes hostages, that allows them to die in captivity, that returns more bodies than live hostages. If you tell us that you are in favor of a group like this, and if you tell us when you apply for your visa, and by the way, I intend to come to your country as a student, and rile up all kinds of anti-Jewish student, anti-Semitic activities. I intend to shut down your universities. If you told us all these things when you applied for a visa, we would deny your visa. I hope we would. If you actually end up doing that, once you're in this country on such a visa, we will revoke it. And if you end up having a green card, not citizenship, but a green card as a result of that visa while you're here in those activities, we're going to kick you out.
This isn't a matter of free speech. I thought it was very interesting 2 days ago when the markets tanked. The NASDAQ was down over 4%. The Dow down the worst it's been in years. The Democrats didn't send out any press releases about the markets or the economy. They instead focused on a Palestinian activist on a college campus who's being deported. That was their message. Chuck Schumer released a statement yesterday afternoon and said, I abhor many of the opinions and policies of Mahmoud Khalil. I have made my criticisms of the anti-Semitic actions at Columbia loudly known. Mr. Khalil is also a permanent resident of the United States. His wife is an American citizen who is 8 months pregnant. While he may be in violation of various campus rules regarding how the protests were conducted last year, this is a matter for the university to pursue, and I've encouraged them to be much more robust in how they combat anti-Semitism. Chuck Schumer has refused to meet with the Jewish students from Columbia. And Chuck Schumer says that this guy, who's not an American citizen, should be allowed to stay in the country. Now, I will tell you, the lawyer in me does want you to know that it will be a little more difficult to deal with this particular person because he is a legal permanent resident of the United States and not just here on a student visa. It's actually pretty easy to go after people with student visas for this, but legal permanent residents in the United States, judges get involved, not just the immigration authorities, not just the State Department. At the same time, this isn't a free speech issue. The guy has organized to take over the college locations on college campus. He has advanced the agenda of Hamas, objectively so. And there are pretty clear laws that should apply to his behavior on these campuses. And what I just think is so notable is the Democrats are spun up about this guy and not about the economy. Democrats are really upset about rules against transgender sports players. They're not so upset about the economy. They've given up on talking about eggs to defend terrorist sympathizers. This is how woke and broke the Democratic Party is right now. I'm not actually surprised, but for a party that has seemed to be on its A game politically, they really were thrown off their game in the election. How did they not see it coming? How did they not see it coming? I don't know, but they didn't, and the Republicans are going to steamroll over them if they're more upset about a terrorist sympathizer than they are anything else in the world right now. One more from Rubio I do want to play for you. This is about the Ukrainian situation where the U.S. and Ukraine have come together on terms for peace. They're trying to get the Russians to go on board with it.
The United States has done a good thing for the world in bringing this process forward, and now we all eagerly await the Russian response and urge them strongly to consider ending all hostilities so people will stop dying, so bullets will stop flying, and so a process can begin to find a permanent peace.
Listen, a lot of people were upset with Donald Trump over withholding intelligence information from Ukraine. I'm not exactly sure he should have done it. The Russians were able to push the Ukrainians back from some territory as a result, but at the same time, it got the Ukrainians rapidly to the peace table. And now the president's signaling if the Russians won't come to the peace table and agree to this deal, including an immediate ceasefire, we're going to go all in helping Ukraine. It's a negotiating tactic. A lot of people question whether the Russians actually want peace. Here's Marco Rubio and the ruler of Saudi Arabia negotiating together to find a peaceful solution. The Russians will be able to preserve some of their territorial gains, including their land bridge into Crimea, and otherwise get peace. They either want it or they don't. And if they don't, President Trump is actually saying, contrary to initial press reports, he will go all in helping Ukraine. Let's see what the Russians do. This is good leadership from Donald Trump. We'll see where it gets him. We'll see where it gets the Russians and the Ukrainians as well. With banks collapsing, the markets teetering, no certainty on tariffs, inflation coming down right now, but possibly maybe going back up. Some of the early indicators are the next month's report may not be as good because of the tariffs. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years and have been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from this secret war, you need to get their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and they can educate you on protecting your assets in their report, The Secret War on Cash. The report takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save your retirement and finances. You can get a free copy, and it is completely free, by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash includes digital forms of currency. The government's finding ways to find how you're spending crypto, too. You need this report for free to see what the government is doing. All you have to do is mention ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. The report from Swiss America on the Secret War on Cash, completely free. Just mention ERIC when you call or text 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
250 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center, still jammed up on I-20 westbound, starting just before Moreland Avenue, trying to head to the downtown connector. Had an earlier crash that's cleared, but DOT tells me now there's a water main break right underneath Hill Street that runs over I-20. I'm seeing some water on the roadway, and it's just causing delays in both directions on I-20 east and westbound into and out of downtown. Elsewhere, crash just cleared at DeKalb, I-20 eastbound Panola Road, exit 71. West side perimeter, construction remains in the right lane. 285 southbound, the outer loop below Highway 166, exit 5, that's Langford Parkway. And checking on trouble, 285 westbound, the outer loop in Sandy Springs, right around Roswell Road, exit 25. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
In Atlanta, there is always something happening.
Tanker truck crashed into the median.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
No traffic getting through in either direction.
Helping you on your commute.
Avoid the area at all costs. Take Highway 155 or Highway 4223.
Brought to you by the Cool-Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's Eric. Are you thinking of adding value to your house, or just you want more convenience and more comfort in your kitchen? Frugal Kitchens can get you one of those $1 million home kitchens at a fraction of the cost. They want to talk to you about how you can go through their process, get your new dream kitchen up and going, and you can be cooking in 5 days from the start of construction and get 18 months no interest financing available. It's what Christy and I have done. Life happens in your kitchen, and Frugal Kitchens can put you in a great one. FrugalKitchens.com.
O'Reilly. Stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Dallas on Ridge Road across from Publix now through March 25th for the grand opening sale. Get 2 times O Rewards points on all Armor All wipes. Plus, receive 2 times points on Valvoline Flex Fill Gear Oil, which means you can reach your next $5 reward twice as fast right now at your new O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Is painting the house on your project list? Make this the last time you paint with Rhino Shield, backed by a 25-year warranty.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
When your air conditioner or furnace breaks down, the last thing you need is more surprises. That's why at Jape Services, you'll always get a free estimate with honest, upfront pricing. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and we've helped thousands of your friends and neighbors with their heating and cooling needs, and our reputation depends on offering the best solution. Whether you need maintenance, repairs, or a new system, call the company you can trust, Jape Services.
Count on us, Jape Services.
Has your driveway, sidewalk, or patio cracked and become uneven? AquaGuard Foundation Solutions can fix it. Simply book your appointment online at aquaguard.net, and AquaGuard will quickly and expertly get it back in shape. Concrete issues? Remember,
AquaGuard.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Stop your grinding with Brooks Night Guard. Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. I ended up going to a dentist, and he wants to charge over $600 for a night guard. That's when I found the Brooks Night Guard. You mold it at home to the top or bottom teeth. Other mouth guards go all the way to the back, which allows the back teeth to touch. This is where most of the grinding and clenching occurs. The Brooks Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Brooks Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Order your Brooks Night Guard today and get 10% off plus free shipping. Go to brooksnightguard.com and enter the code BRUX91. That's BRUX91. Stop your grinding with Brooks Night Guard.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Truth, not the talking points. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425, except it is too late for you to call in. Friends, I have an important announcement that I need to make here at the end of the show. You know what? I'll let her do the announcement herself.
Well, hey, everybody. It's me, Rosie O'Donnell, star of the Flintstones. It's Tuesday all day, as my Nana would say. And I'm here in Ireland. And it's beautiful and warm, not physically. It's actually quite cold. Moved here on January 15th. And it's been pretty wonderful, I have to say. The people are so loving and so kind, so welcoming, and I'm very grateful. I'm in the process of getting my Irish citizenship, as I have Irish grandparents, and that's what's going on, and that's where I've been and what I've been doing.
First of all, no one really cares about Rosie O'Donnell. Is it not sad that she calls herself the star of the Flintstones? I mean, that's how she's defining herself, is not a host of The View or anything like that, but the Flintstones? When did the Flintstones... I'm looking. I don't know. When did the Flintstones come out? In the year 2000? No, 1994... And then they made a cartoon in the year 2000. But literally, she's saying she's the star of the Flintstones, a movie that came out in 1994 that no one went to see. That's sad. That's sad. Very sad. Donald Trump was asked earlier today, what did he do to chase Rosie O'Donnell out of the country? And Donald Trump replied, "You must not know who she is. You're better off because of it." Well played. I don't know that any of us really care, but there really is something demented, I think, about the number of people who have chosen to leave the country because of Donald Trump. whether it's Ellen DeGeneres allegedly leaving because of Donald Trump, and there's been a dispute as to whether or not she actually did because of Trump or not. But Rosie O'Donnell certainly because of Donald Trump and others. I just you hate your country that much. You don't trust the voters of the country that much. One of the things I learned from Rush Limbaugh, God rest his soul, is never bet against the American people. You may not like the way they voted. You may not like they voted for Barack Obama or for Joe Biden. But at the end of the day, try to understand why they did, as opposed to blaming them like the left is doing right now. They're blaming the voters of America for voting against Donald Trump or voting for Donald Trump. That's just, it's never blame the voters. They're voting collectively in their interests. And people may be stupid and people are voters, but collectively they do profoundly good things, like putting Donald Trump back in office for a 4-year roller coaster ride that's causing the left to leave the country.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
I am so excited for people across Georgia and especially for us in Metro Atlanta because of the problems with public schools that don't perform well. The number of kids in elementary, middle, and high school eligible now across the state for state-funded vouchers for people who want to have their child in a private school, or you have a child in a private school, has gone way up. It's 400,000 kids across the state, most in North Georgia. And so this is something you may not even be aware of that your child is eligible for. Actually, the money comes to you as a parent, reducing the cost of that private education that your kid is receiving. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 3 o'clock.